Yeah. I'm at Grace Church Road. I went to Waynesboro to bring this man down to this address, and now he's trying to force his way into a house. I'm afraid to move my vehicle. Just placing in there.
It's inside the house now?
Yeah.
You have your doors locked?
It's open. I'm in a van.
You need to make yourself safe, okay? Even if you've got to drive away from there to get away from him and close that and lock that door. Do that for me now, please.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay, hey everyone, round three. And this, yeah, 3 times the charm. And Alexza's with us this tonight as well, joining us. Thank you, Alexza, for joining us. I know it's been a long day for you. And well,
hi, how are you? Hi, Adam. Hi, Sunny. I'm so sorry. I'm a little spaced out, a little late too.
Oh, you're fine.
Great.
It was never the car and the body cam. Hi, Krista. How are you? I have Fox on TV and very excited. Let's just give a few shout outs here to everyone that's coming in. Callie's in the house. Callie's not feeling very well. But I do want to thank Callie for, she sent me this beautiful Christmas box full of things. And this little Hello Kitty lip gloss was in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
So cute.
And this other little lip gloss. And then she sent me like Blaine's notebook. So I have one of those for Blaine. And some bath bombs and some bath soap and a mistletoe and a cuticle set. And trying to think. A bunch of good stuff. Anyway, so and a beautiful Christmas card. When I was picking, just so you know, when I was picking up the box, Callie and everyone in chat here, though. So I want to give a shout out to Nicole from the UPS store, because as I was picking up the box, what I had said to her was, well, I just say S. Austin so that my husband can pick it up. But she put my name on it, so it meant I had to come in instead of just sending my husband off to the UPS store, because obviously they want to see ID. But anyways, so then we were talking about something about Christmas for a second. And then I said to her, well, actually, I just literally got off a live. It was kind of like, you could tell she was a really good person. She was talking about Christmas and the lights and blah, blah, blah. And I was telling her how, I have a channel that is to do with, the missing, of course, and the murdered, and, how we give a voice to the voiceless. And then she's like, oh yeah, I'm into true crime. And I'm like, well, let me just ask you something. If I said the Idaho 4 to you, do you know what I'm talking about? And then she's like, "Oh yes, I've been following that case and whatever." And so that my husband by this time is back in the vehicle because he was at the getting some cat food at the pet store, and so I wanted to give Nicole a shout out from the UPS store, and I apologize because there was another girl there who actually pulled up the It's a Crime and Shame webpage. I didn't ask for what her name was because I was too busy thinking about my husband. That was going. He's probably going, "Okay, shut up, get in the vehicle, shut up."
Oh my God.
So I just wanted to give a shout out to Nicole there, and again, thank you for the chatter that we were having about the true crime, and yeah, so she obviously knew a lot about the cases we were talking about it. So just want to give that shout out. And so hey, Sharon, Parker, Rose, Elizabeth, Crime Sleuthin will be joining us in about 15 minutes time as well. Want to bring on Alexza and get Alexa's thoughts on everything properly without her having to type it in the chat. And obviously the affidavit came out and we'll be talking somewhat about that, of course. And hi, Ellen and FP, Jill Moser, let's see, Krista Cole, let's see, Ray Jones is in the house, and Aspen Connor. Is Sloopy in the house? Hey, Sloop,
Yeah.
there she is. Yeah, I know Sloop. She's sometimes like she has Sloop. Don't forget, you're always welcome to come on whenever you want to come on. But I also know that you suffer from your migraines and stuff like that. Anyways, nice to see you, Sloop. Kelly's saying happy birthday again, Alexza.
Oh,
To
thank
you.
you.
Yeah, even though it wasn't exactly a great birthday, was it? I mean, it is what it is, but
Yeah, you know what it is at this age. My kids are like, oh, my husband was You know what happened was, for those that don't know, is the day before. Was it the day before? My husband sprained his foot, and he said he was okay. And they had planned. We had planned to have dinner at home, and then we were gonna go out. And then I was getting ready and everything, and then I saw his foot. I saw him limping the whole day, but I was like, I didn't pay attention. When I saw his foot, it was like 4 times its size, and he was like, "No, I'm fine, I'm fine." And I'm like, "No way, you're fine." So I'm like, "No, no, 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 let's go." So I finally had to drag him to the hospital. Thank God it's not broken; it's just sprained. But they said
just
sometimes sprains are worse than fractures. But he should be okay. He's a little bit better. The foot is a lot better today than yesterday.
yeah.
So I said, "Don't worry. Tomorrow, tomorrow or Saturday, whenever, we'll just extend my birthday celebrations a little bit."
Exactly. And what caused it, Alexza? Did you say? I'm sorry if I wasn't
Well,
paying attention.
yeah, Sharon. Yeah, he does
kicked
have.
him.
He does have gout, but I think he sprained it. I think cleaning.
Gave it a
I think he said
twist.
he was doing something, and he
Right.
sprained it, and he didn't think much. And then not last night, the night before, it was starting to hurt, but he didn't say anything. And like I said, yesterday I noticed it. I noticed that he was limping, but I didn't really think of much until last night when he was trying to put his shoes as soon as to get ready to go. I was like, no way. Like there was no way he could put his shoes on. So I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's go to the hospital and see if because I was worried that it was broken. The way it looked, it felt like it was broken. But thank God it wasn't broken. So that was my little adventure last night.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you kick him all the way down the stairs, or did you just kick
I
him
know.
partially down the
I mean,
stairs?
that
I
was a
know
good
everybody's
story.
accusing me and said, "Did you leave the garbage again?" No, it wasn't the garbage. I didn't kick him. He's not abused, not yet. He's laughing upstairs. No, it wasn't me.
After the family was in town, I wasn't sure.
I know. I would have thrown myself out of the stairs. I know.
Alexa would have a broken neck and her husband out on a fracture.
I know
there.
I could, but
He probably kicked the wall after the family was in town.
Yeah.
I know, of course. Let's not even go there.
Wanda from Missouri says, "Happy belated birthday, Alexza. Hope your
Thank
husband
you, Wanda.
gets better."
Appreciate it.
And as Alexa, she was saying, like her kids had a lot of homework today and everything like that. So she sounds a little bit tired and out of it. Hence why we will be doing another live tomorrow night. And Alexa, that's when you're going to go over the Bryan's hat, like his signature, correct?
Yes. Sorry.
She said it so sure.
I know. I was just like, Lex, are you there?
Yeah, no. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much to it. It's just simply, his signature and what usually the different letters entail and stuff like that, right? So, Alexa, let's start off with the affidavit and just
Mhm.
your overall thoughts of anything that you remember, things that you've said that are kind of like you've seen in the affidavit, just pretty much anything that really sticks out to you.
Hold on, because I don't know what happened. Hold on 1 second, because my computer just went you disappeared.
Oh,
Hold on 1 second.
no problem.
There you are.
Oh,
Sorry.
there she
There I
is.
am.
There she is.
Hold on. Let me think. So the affidavit, let's see. Very interesting. I think it proved a couple points. I think one of the points that proved, I think it was who got killed first. I think, I always speculated that probably Kaylee and Maddie were killed first, and then Ethan and Zena were killed last. And I always speculated like that, in that order. Like probably Kaylee. Usually the target is usually the one that they kill first. And that's why in victimology, when we do victimology, it's so important to know, when we find out who was killed first, we can actually start, deducing who was the target. So usually the targets are killed first. And then everybody, if the intent is more than one person. But you know what? I always said it. I always thought that all the other ones, obviously, Maddie was in the bed, so he had to kill her. But I always believed that Ethan and Zena were what we call in the field practical kills, which aka means collateral kills. That he had to kill them. Maybe they saw them, maybe they heard a noise, something, and he had to kill. I always believed that. I don't think he went there with the intent to kill everyone, because then he would have killed the other two. So I truly always believe that.
Exactly. It very plausible, because obviously he left and stared right at Dylan.
Yeah.
So
by then could be that he was exhausted, could be that he wasn't interested. He didn't kill the dog, so that tells you a lot. That means that he was, it wasn't a threat to him. He would have killed anybody who was a threat. And I think for some reason Ethan and Zena posed a threat to him for some reason. So I think now that we know that maybe I think somebody said that they had a delivery at 4 a.m. or something like that.
DoorDash.
So I think maybe, and the kitchen was in the second floor, right?
Yes. The same floor as Xana's.
Yeah. So could it be possible that maybe, them going to the kitchen and maybe they heard that means that they were awake. So that means they probably heard something.
For sure.
Yeah. So they probably said something.
Right. Like we don't know that Ethan was. Ethan could have been asleep. I would think that if they ordered food, they both would have. But you never know. He might have gone to sleep, and she might have been up to get the food, because it was at 4:12 that she was on TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's such a. But everybody was cool. And now I understand, because at the beginning I was like, why are they calling him such a disorganized killer? And now I know why they call him such a disorganized killer, because obviously, an organized killer, when they go to kill, they bring their killing kit and then they take it out. And when you start leaving any potential, your weapons or anything, that becomes, he was very sloppy. Yeah. Which I'm very shocked, because it kind of doesn't fit in with his persona. But I do believe he maybe might have like a borderline, personality. But obviously I can't say, because I haven't treated him, or I haven't seen it. I don't know anything to back it up. It's just on assumptions and what I have seen.
Well, I think it clearly shows that he has grandiose ideas of his own intelligence and power.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think so. I think, and I think it's. I was reading, and I think it said that they can pinpoint that he goes back up to, I think, August of the 2022, that he was like near the area.
But even sooner, I think.
August 21st is the time that I remember.
Okay.
That's when he got the ticket, isn't it?
It's when he got the ticket, but that's when he was also in the area.
Yes.
As well.
He also got another ticket on the day on October 14th. Or he got pulled over on October 14th, which we did not know about previously.
Right.
That one I didn't know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I can't wait for those body cam footage to come out because they're going to.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised the seatbelt one hasn't come out already. Like I was waiting for someone to have done a FOIA request on that and for that to have come out already, but it hasn't.
It will.
And now we know there's a stop in Colorado.
Mm-hmm. The seatbelt was when? Is that the
seatbelt was
The 21st.
the August, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
because classes started on the 22nd.
So now the question is, where did he meet them? Who was the target? I always believed, and I said this from day one, I always thought it was Kaylee. I'm not so I mean, I'm still sure about it, but I'm not sure still where he met her, where, and I always said it was an obsession. I think, it prior to finding out that it was, when I found out that they were not in the same, that they were in the same room, prior to that, I was like, okay, no, that's not possible. It's definitely a mass murder. But the minute I remember that you guys confirmed that they were in the same bed, I was like, no, that has to be a stalking. And I remember everybody was like, no, there's no way. And I even remember seeing it on TV a lot, profilers on TV, they were like, no, there's no way this can be a stalking case. And it is, and it was. It had all the things from a stalking case.
It's interesting also that was not a big bed. I don't know if anyone has seen the social media pictures of Madison's room. She did not have it was not like a king size bed. That was a one person bed basically. I mean I don't know if it was a twin or if it was a full, but I mean it was not a big bed.
No, they weren't that big. I mean, I am not tiny, and my husband is not tiny. And when he was in college, I used to sleep in his bed and it was like a twin size bed. So you make it work.
Yeah.
I want to get this question in if you don't mind, just because I'm curious about this too, because I'm thinking the same thing. When Dylan and again, Dylan is Dylan for anyone that keeps spelling it DLI.
How is it spelled? What is it?
It's Dylan. Dylan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I never seen it spelled like that.
See, that's the way I've normally seen it spelled.
Same.
But I see a lot of people doing half and half. But I mean, the way I've always seen it in articles is Dylan, and I'm
right.
that is the way that it's spelled. Just
like
for
Bob
anyone
Dylan.
that's
Yeah.
So, do you think by Regis? Do you think Dylan would have seen blood on the suspect? And do you think Dylan would have seen the suspect holding the knife?
I don't think so. I mean, could be possible, but I don't think so. I think that would have registered more. I think she just saw him. I think she froze. He also probably froze, and he probably said, I need to get out of here. But I don't think she was able to see anything. He was probably bloody, but I don't think she saw that.
Yeah. With what blood? If he was, she stated in the affidavit that he was wearing all black. Which, if you have blood on you and the room is dark, you wouldn't be able to necessarily see the blood. You would just see the black. I mean, she clearly had a close enough view of him that she could tell he had bushy eyebrows. So I mean, we know that she got a very good look at him, and that he was wearing some sort of a face covering. Now, as far as the knife, I don't know if that would have even registered because of the shock of just seeing someone in general. Or he may have put it back in his pocket. Who knows?
I don't think he's going to be walking around with with the knife like that. He probably put it in his pocket.
Had a sheath with them, so it would have been an unsheathed blade at that point. But
if anything, his arms would have been down. Like he would have just probably been so exhausted from already taking out 4 people that his arms would have been down by his sides if he was holding the knife in his hand. She wouldn't have saw that probably, just because she would have been going exactly in shock. So whether she did
Yeah.
see blood is a whole different story. Possibly not either. Depends what state of shock, because again, there's something missing there between the 4 o'clock or 4:20 to the 12 o'clock phone call. There's something that's missing from a piece of the pie, piece of the puzzle's missing there.
What do you mean?
Well, just
Because
being that, we know that they said that the crimes happened between 4 and 4:25, and then they said the vehicle was seen basically leaving the area at 4:20.
So it had to be
So
before.
by that you can deduce that that the crime was over around 4:20.
Yeah.
But then the 911 call wasn't made until 11:58 a.m.
the next day.
So the question I think on everyone's mind really is, what made her go in see him, lock herself back into her bedroom, but then do nothing for 7 hours, 8 hours?
8 hours,
Well,
something like that.
I think she probably got on. She was probably in shock, and I know a lot of people are criticizing her. A lot of people are saying many things about her. And
No, that girl's gone through trauma.
I know, and you know what? She has got those two poor girls, and I always said it from day one. They're gonna need a lot of help, because what they went through, especially when you realize that could have been you. I don't think they have realized yet the whole thing. I think they're
Yes,
still,
but
up high, with everything. But I think, everybody's saying, oh, how come she didn't call the police? I would have called. It's so easy to criticize and say, I would have done this, I would have done that.
yeah,
But you freeze. And I've known people. I know people in the field that were, one in particular that I know that was an FBI agent, and he got assaulted, and he couldn't, by the time he pulled his gun and everything, they had already shot him.
Right.
And this is somebody who was, is trained by the FBI, that you would be like, okay,
Yeah. I mean,
So
there have been victims of SA, of
Mhm.
TV, of other things that haven't reported their crime for days, and and they get criticized for it, or years
Yeah.
even. But
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So you
I mean,
have to take into account first. You have to take into account, she's 20, she's young, she was probably drinking, so her brain is not, is not fully there. And she probably wasn't shocked, and she probably thought the best thing to do is, go into her room and lock herself. I mean, everybody would be like, okay, I would have called it. I agree, I would have, but she didn't. Let's move on.
Well-
Let's not blame her. Let's not do, it wouldn't, maybe, well, it wouldn't change the situation. Probably it would have been, maybe the DNA would have been a little bit fresher, I guess, but it wouldn't change anything. So
I would like to know, one thing I would like to know
exactly.
is if she made any attempts to text or call any of her roommates
that
after
would
she
be
locked
interesting.
herself in the room. I mean, it's something we probably won't know until trial, but I mean, I would think, to me, that even if you go through that trauma, to me that would be a natural response, is to want to communicate with the people that are in your immediate vicinity. One, to make sure they're okay, and to two, make sure they know that you might not be okay. So, I would think that even if she was too scared to go out of her room, that she could easily have texted Xana, Maddie, Kaylee, any of them.
Yeah. Deb asked a question. I understand that freezing for 6 hours or more. Actually, Deb, you can ask your husband, because actually I was talking to a friend of mine who's a psychologist. And she said to me that that you can be in shock. I always thought that, you go in shock, and then for a little bit, for like an hour, maybe even a day. Okay. A couple hours, but I did not know that you can be in shock, in a state of shock for a while, up to a couple days. I did not know that. So maybe ask your husband. I know your husband is a psychologist. And like I said, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she did say that. So
Yeah,
I don't
because
know. Psychologist, but it would be interesting to find out.
well, because I want to say my piece on that one too, because I too find, like, so unless there's a piece of the puzzle missing that's not there, that is not being shown to us yet. Me too. And I think any normal person knows that 6-8 hours is a long time to whatever. But if she did panic and passed out or went unconscious, because possibly she was drinking. So who knows what the body was going through. Or there's just simply more to the story that's not out there yet that we don't know.
Maybe it's as simple as, she, I mean, knowing that they're in college, it's Greek life, maybe she convinced herself it was a prank or a joke, or it was some sort of, sorority thing or fraternity thing, and she was like, nope, I'm not having this, and she went to bed. And it wasn't until the next day that she realized the severity of it.
And it would have registered, because they said that even didn't Kaylee scream, or she thought she heard somebody's in the house?
Yeah.
So you would say that, okay, somebody's in the house, the noise, and then hearing saying us, say, crying, that would have been like 1 + 1. And then you see somebody. I mean, everybody says in her position, I would have called the police too. But everybody experiences trauma, and everybody experiences shocking situations differently. So,
Right.
Did she wake up? Did she go to sleep thinking it was a dream? I mean, she did just wake up, probably because of the noise.
We don't know how much she had drank. We don't know if she took another substance. We don't know. There's a lot of ifs.
Maybe her phone wasn't in her room.
Maybe it wasn't.
I mean, I know that's far fetched, a 20-year-old without her phone, but
Yeah,
but I mean, if you see a man, I mean, especially, I think what she referred, or the affidavit refers us, I think he had a ski mask. That's how I read it, that he had a ski mask.
That's kind of how I read it, but.
And I mean, the first thing you do is you call the police. But I think maybe she was I think she went in a stage of shock. The fact that she saw him so close.
So, just to answer that question, somebody asked it about, and I can't remember exactly who it was, but it said about when did Dylan see close the door, or did she see the person go out the door? Well, in the affidavit here, it says that he then headed towards the sliding doors. So basically, she shut her door. She's seen him going that way, because he basically looked at her and obviously veered off that way. So that was what was said in the affidavit. So that's as far as pretty much we know. And obviously within the time frame and the footprint out back, and stuff like that, he went out that back sliding door.
I think he came in and out of that door. Now, another thing that stuck out to me about with the door being, from what we were told, which it doesn't say anything in the affidavit about the door. It doesn't say anything about the people that came to the house before the 911 call happened, which I thought was interesting. But I guess that'll be safe for trial. But it also didn't say anything about the door being left open. But that's something we've always heard, is that the door was left open. And I would think that if Dylan saw him go out the back door, then not only did she close her door and not call 911, she also didn't go back out into the kitchen even to close the sliding door. Which you would think that you would feel the temperature of that house get colder throughout the night.
Let me just read Stepha's response, because she asked me to. It says we are thinking in sound mind. She is having a trauma response, freeze. The brain will disassociate to make itself safe until it's ready to release. The brain has no time limit. Sorry, the brain has no time limit. So I just wanted to read that again for support of Steph, because that's very cute.
I do have that part of the affidavit pulled up really quickly, where it says the wording exactly is: Dylan stated she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. So that could be a ski mask. It could be a surgical mask. We don't know.
Right.
Dylan described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past Dylan as she stood in frozen shock phase. The male walked toward the back sliding glass door. Dylan locked herself in her bedroom.
Yeah.
So, I was just trying to go over the wording again, because, after seeing the male is what she said. Dylan did not state Dylan did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer then left the scene. So.
No, I don't think so, Anne Marie. I really don't think
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, good what's the word I'm looking for? Good devil's advocate on that one, but I don't think that any of us are. Or I mean, you are maybe, and maybe some others are, but no, it doesn't make when something is kind of like that would be reaching to the bottom to look for something different.
Yeah, and none of these kids had any history of known drug use. I mean, I know there's been some speculation on some recreational stuff, but it's college, and I'm not gonna, I doubt there was anything in that house.
I think like anything,
maybe a vape or some weed, but
yeah, I don't think so. I think it was probably her state of mind. I think he probably just, and again, we go back to, don't forget, they're 20-year-olds, and I mean, I hate to say this, but sometimes they can be dumb. I mean, kids at that age, 20, for a lot of things, they're very smart, but for a lot of things, common sense, they're very dumb. Yeah. And I hate to say that. I don't want to sound like I'm superiority complex or whatever.
Your amigo is not fully formed, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. Exactly. Until you're 25. The brain doesn't get fully developed until
and minutes like 62. But I wanted to answer FP's question really quick. FP, I think everyone was under the understanding that Dylan was on the first floor, but it states very clearly on page 4 of the affidavit that Dylan stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. So everyone, law enforcement had given everyone the assumption she was on the first floor, but no, she was on the second floor the whole time. Bethany.
So that whole theory of 1, 2, 2 is out the window.
Right. It was 1, 3, 2.
Oh, 1. Okay.
Now that we know, that Dylan was on the second floor.
But I thought that room was empty. Didn't they say that it was empty?
That was what everyone. That's the assumption everyone was under.
That's on the first floor. That one's empty. That one was empty.
Yeah, but what Alexza was saying is everyone was under the assumption the second floor room was empty. But the second floor room was the one Dylan was in.
Okay. So
yeah. And there had been social media pictures of Dylan in that second floor bedroom, which is what we had discussed the confusion before, because they kept saying the first floor, and we talked about, well, why are all these pictures of her bedroom, the second floor bedroom, when the first floor that they say she was on is that like crap bedroom that like had a utility box on the wall where your circuit breakers are all at. And I was like, no one would want that room. We've said it many times on here, but they kept saying first floor, and so we believed it. But she clearly was on the second floor.
Yeah, and I think Steffa had said before, like I'm sure the detectives, when they showed up, they wouldn't even care if they had drugs. I agree. I mean, to the extent of the crime scene that I think it was, I mean, drugs would have been the minimum. I don't think they would have cared if they would have found anything. So
yeah, I mean, even the coroner came out immediately, basically, and said, there's no, the toxic, because when she was asked about the toxicology reports taking time to come back after the autopsies, she said she was confident that those would hold no bearing in any of this. So
yeah.
That to me answered that question, and like the picture Sunny has up on the screen right now.
Yeah.
I had sent her because someone sent it to me, and I do disagree with the order.
Me too.
I do. I disagree with the order of the killings that this diagram put things in, but I did like the way it at least laid out the floors of the house.
Well, this looks a little wrong right here. Because this is the door here. So if I go back to this one, that isn't there.
Oh
Or
no, you know that's the staircase. Yeah, they don't
no,
have the
yeah.
door there.
But look at the doors right here. The staircase is
Hmm.
here. The doors
Yeah.
here comes down longer. So this drawing
In
is a
the other
little,
one, yeah, in the other one, they don't have a door anywhere on that in
yeah.
that second in
So
that bedroom.
we'll look at this one again right here.
Did you see that TikTok I sent you, Sonny? There was no. I don't think there was any music or anything to it. That to me was the best diagram I've seen of anything at all of the floor plan.
No, I don't remember that TikTok.
Here, I just sent it
Um,
to you.
let me take a look.
Um,
Oh, some crime sleuthing. Okay, well, I'll let you come on. It's about 20 minutes early though, but I'll add you to the stream on there. It's about 20 minutes too early though.
I'm gonna send it to you again, Sonny.
Okay, Joni, can you hear me?
And don't worry, I'll just sit here quietly.
No.
Yeah, just 1 second there. And I just want to make sure. Your name was Yone or Yone in the chat before, right? Or was it always? So I'm kind of confused. I don't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Me? No, always I'm Susan.
Okay, that's why I was confused
Can you hear
because
me
I
now?
was like, yeah, okay.
And the TikTok
Yes,
also goes
always-
into what a
always.
lot of people were saying.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, crime sleuthing. Yeah, because I had asked if you were Yone in the chat, and I was like, oh, she must have changed her name, and that's why I was confused. So, okay, so your name was always crime sleuthing. Okay, so welcome to the stream. I'm gonna pull up the TikTok that Adam sent, and yeah, and then we'll come back, okay, and then we can talk about things again. So let's just go find this quickly.
I'm gonna put a link. I'm gonna put a link in the back chat really quick to something that you could use right now. That's why I came on up, because I found something online that will give you a wonderful perspective of what you're looking at right now.
Okay.
So let me put that in that chat. It's really amazing.
So you're putting that into the private chat, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well. Okay. Let's take a look at this for a second here. Okay. Oh yeah, the virtual tour. I don't think I ever played that.
You don't just play it; you can literally walk around with it.
Yeah. Somebody
It's
sent me
kind
that a couple of days ago.
Yeah, the TikTok does a kind of it's the virtual tour as well, and it does the thing from Dylan's bedroom.
Okay, so we'll look at them both. Oh, so it's the same thing, really. Oh, I think I've seen this one too. Okay, so let me bring up that, and so just 1 second, guys. Present. I think it's this one, but it can only go so big, I think. So if we're on screen, let me just take a look. If we are, we'll pull us off. And then we'll hit play. I don't think it can go any bigger than this. No.
Not walking straight at her because there's literally an oven across from her bedroom. So he either came down the stairs from her left or from the living room on her right. If he came down the stairs from her left, this is her bedroom door open, he would have hung a really sharp left and exited those sliding glass doors, which means she never would have really been in his direct eyesight. Same argument can be made if he came from the right side of her door, which is the living room, which is connected to where Xana and Ethan were found. If he comes from the right side of her door from the living room, he's still going to make that 90-degree turn and head straight out those sliding glass doors, not necessarily putting her in his eye line. We know that the killer was not walking straight at her because there's literally an oven across from her bedroom. So he either came down the stairs from her left or from the living room on her right. If he came down the stairs from her left, this is her bedroom door open, he would have hung a really sharp left and exited those sliding glass doors, which means she never would have really been in his direct eyesight. Same argument can be made if he came from the right side of her door, which is the living room, which is connected to where Xana and Ethan were found. If he comes from the right side of her door from the living room, he's still going to make that 90-degree turn and head straight out those sliding glass doors, not necessarily putting her in his eye line.
Let's go to the virtual tour for a second as well.
Yeah.
And let's see here.
Regis, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking he was either up there already or about to go up there.
Okay. Let's see. So this is, I don't know where I am right now, to be honest with you. Where am I? Okay, so there's
You're in
your
the living room.
Okay,
So
let's go.
if you to the right is Xana's bedroom.
I feel like I went somewhere.
Yeah, you're in the corner, like
Oh,
the
hey, I'm in the corner. Ooh.
Oh,
Oh.
Sonny, you gotta get off that eggnog.
I'm not used to using these things. I never do. Okay, so
Yeah.
we are
Right.
okay. This is the master bedroom.
Oh, you're
Right
on the
here.
third floor. Yeah,
Yeah, this is the third floor.
that's Kaylee's room where the dog was.
Okay, yeah. So that's in the back there. If I make you guys sick, too bad. So sad. I'm just as good as this as I'm at Google. So let's see, hallway. Okay, so this is the bathroom, and then this obviously is Maddie's room here. How do I get there? Right there, I guess. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is Maddie's room.
Right.
And
There
this is
should
where
be a
they-
window.
yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the back of the house. Remember, everybody.
And yeah, and the small little bed there. And so Matt and the sheath was found to the right side of Maddie's body, and I think the girls may have been slightly on top of each other, from what
Right.
the rumor I've heard was.
Okay.
Just the way
So-
they were left, not necessarily the way they were, found. But
So that, and then, like I said, that was the bathroom. Well,
yeah.
might as well.
And that's
go
probably
home.
where he cleaned up, is in that bathroom, allegedly.
Right. Okay, so there's that, and let's go back down. Okay, where are my people? Well, I'm trying to find the stairs. Where's the stairs? Oh,
There
there
you
they
go.
are. Okay, back down to the second
Yeah.
floor.
To the left.
I gotta go down some more stairs, apparently. Okay,
Mhm.
get over here. Oh, let's follow these little arrows, I guess.
And
Okay.
then Dylan's bedroom is to the right.
To the right.
And once you go, yeah, there's Dylan's room.
Okay. So there's the stairs. Obviously, the kitchen's to the left. So let's take a boo in here. Boom.
Yep.
Okay, so this is at the backyard right there.
Yep.
Remember, to the very
Where the screen was broken.
yeah, exactly. So this is what that bedroom looks like. Or it just feels like you're living it, through it yourself, because you feel like you just feel like you felt like exactly what was going on here.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so.
And then you picture it all completely dark.
Yeah. So obviously this is the kitchen, and we'll come back there in a minute.
Right.
And let's go through here to the living room.
And then to the left, that's Xana's room right there, the door we see open.
Okay, so let's follow some arrows, I guess. And
Yeah.
through here?
Yep, that's Xana's room.
It's like a little narrow hallway, isn't it? Or comes across that way. Okay,
Yep.
so this is so
And then where the headboard is on that wall, that's on the other side of that wall is where we saw the blood dripping, or whatever the substance was dripping out in the foundation.
yeah. If you guys could just give a thumbs up on this live, just for my effort for struggling with these arrows, because it really is. It really is. It's like you're like, oh, let me just. It's amazing how draining something like this is when you're not used to it. But yeah.
Hold on a second. Sorry. Where was the blood again? Can you show me?
Down.
So-
Okay, I'll.
On the other side of that wall, where the headboard would be,
Okay.
on the outside of that wall on the house, that's
Yeah.
where we see the foundation where the blood was, or whatever the substance was
Yeah.
that was dripping down. Which is what leads me to believe that Ethan was probably in the bed,
Mm-hmm.
where Xana was found on the floor.
Yeah.
They were probably thrown. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if he was upstairs, let's say, and then now this obviously there's a living room on this floor.
Yes.
And that's where the living room is. So there's Dylan's room over here, upstairs to the third. This is the living room. So the only way to get to this bedroom, obviously, is from here. She probably saw him here as he was walking by here.
To leave.
Right. Because I'm sure he didn't do it the opposite way around. It was in, up, down, over. And then she opened up the door a couple times, one for the dog, because she thought about the dog, other because about the voices. And then the third one was because of what was the third one? Why did she open the door the third time?
The third one was she heard the thud. She heard the thud and the and the like crying.
Crying. Mm-hmm.
Which is that's why I assume that the killing order is the way I said, because of the timeline as well. Because if we know that Xana was alive and on TikTok at 4:12, but he was out of the house by 4:20, I think that Kaylee and Maddie were already being killed, probably while she was on TikTok.
Okay, I took us back down to the entry when you come in. Yeah. So this must be the door when you first come in, is right here.
That would be Bethany's room.
Yeah, and then this would be Bethany's room here.
Right.
So he didn't even come here whatsoever, it seems like. But this front door was left open, correct?
Well, no, the sliding door. No, that's never been confirmed. The sliding door is the door I think he came in and out of.
Oh, okay. I thought it was that this front lower main one was left open.
No,
I thought that one was, and I was always like, oh, that's strange. Okay, so that's the room that Bethany was in, and again,
the room that you were just in was the room that we all thought Dylan lived in. The room you're in now is Bethany's room.
Yeah. This is the one that had the golf clubs in it.
No. The other one was. The room you're in now is Bethany's room. The one across the hall is one that we thought was Dylan's room. Because of the utility boxes on the wall. That's how I knew it.
Oh, okay. So why did I have it in my head that the cops were looking to the other side when they were at the front door?
Because like, if you're looking like that window to the right is the front of the house. So.
Yeah. I know that. That's what I'm saying.
So that's Bethany's bedroom that you're in right now.
Yeah, but I thought that so let's say the front door is over here. I thought that it was this room that they were peeping through.
No, it was the other room with the red curtain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that Bethany's room had like vertical blinds.
Yeah, so I had obviously that twisted around utility room. And then we'll go back up the stairs again, wherever that is, up here.
Yeah, I don't believe the killer ever even went to the first floor.
I'm finally getting the hang of this thing.
Especially now that Dylan was on the second floor. I don't think there's any implication that he ever went to the first floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too.
If I click on this, oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, snapshot things.
Picture.
Yeah, there you go.
And then what we're looking at now is around where you saw the footprint.
Mm-hmm. Which would have been over here.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone has
that's where we saw the Jack-in-the-Box bag.
Yeah, it was over here. That wide. Okay, it was from a wide angle because that window looks bigger. You can tell it's stretched out more. But yeah, the Jack-in-the-Box bag was here.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's giving us a view back on this way to look at it. And so, yeah. So basically, again, Dylan's room is right ahead of us. The stairs going up to the third floor. So I mean, do you guys? What's this question mark for? The male walks towards the backsliding glass door. DM locks herself in the room after seeing the male. Dylan does not state she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. Right. Okay. And yeah, so do you believe that it kind of happened like that? It comes in, it's 4 o'clock. The DoorDash person comes. Zena gets her Jack in the Box. She drops it off basically, or puts the bag over here. Probably gets herself
goes in the bedroom.
Goes back in the bedroom with their Jack in the Box to where Ethan
It's
is
on TikTok, and he might be asleep. We don't know.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that he wasn't. I think he probably went and that probably posed a threat to him, and that's probably why he got killed. But we'll see. I mean,
I'm just wondering with her being found visibly because it says in the affidavit that the officer that came at 4 o'clock that afternoon could see Xana as he approached that bedroom, and then Ethan was further in the room. So to me, it almost makes me think that Xana might have been killed first. I mean, been killed before Ethan, only because, why would those are the only two. I do feel like Maddie and Kaylee were killed first, but I wonder then whether it was Ethan or Xana first on the second floor, because if Ethan was asleep, was he killed last or was he killed before Xana? Because
I think he was probably killed before Xana. I think Xana was probably the last one to be killed.
I just don't think Xana was ever asleep, and that's the only reason I'm curious about it.
Yeah, I don't think Ethan was asleep either, but I mean, hopefully we'll see.
Yeah. So again, this all happened in a very short period of time here.
And he cleaned up. That's the other thing that's important to
So what was the first?
Actually, now that I think about it, he probably cleaned up in the bathroom outside of Xana's room.
Probably.
And not the one outside of Maddie's room.
Yeah.
So what was the 4:17 time referencing again?
That's when the dog started barking.
Okay, right. That's when the dog started barking. Okay. So yeah. So probably in the kitchen, upstairs. Obviously both of them were killed in Maddie's room. Downstairs, like I said, who knows if somebody saw him there or if he just, like maybe when he was in the back here, right? When he was in the back here, he would have seen someone probably come in with their Jack in the Box. So he obviously knew that those, if he was at the home 12 times prior to the murders,
and that night, the first time he was spotted going by was what, like 3:25 in the morning. So it was, or was it even earlier? Because remember, they said it was the fourth time he went by that night that he finally probably went in. I can't remember where it says that in the affidavit, but it does state that he went by the house that night alone, from 3:28 to 4:20 or something.
Yeah, like 3 times when he bypassed it.
Yeah, it was the fourth time that he actually probably went in.
So yeah, it's probably the most likely scenario that up here, in there, he saw, it just blows me away. He literally, whatever, sees her, and then he just goes on about his way out the door.
If he saw her.
Pardon?
If he even saw her, she might have seen him, and he might not have seen her.
Oh, I think he saw her. I think he just
starting at 3:29 and ending at 4:20. That's when he was seen on camera in the King Road neighborhood.
Yeah. So, because didn't it say in the affidavit that he saw her? Didn't it say in the affidavit that did she say that he saw that? Did she just say that she saw him, or was there again? Because I don't know. There was. Did you guys see it?
That was the fourth page. Let me look.
I think that Bryan was the one saying, "Don't worry, I'm going to help you." Meaning,
Dylan stated she opened the door for the third time and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Dylan described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past Dylan as she stood in frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. So it never says it never says he looked at her. It says he walked past her.
And what Deb put here too, I kind of think the same thing. And could be wrong, but that's how I kind of took that as well. Don't worry, I'm going to help you, meaning help her out of pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Out of your misery. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was saying before was that law enforcement, they said they saw him. Wait, where was that? Oh, I missed it. Sorry. 6. A review of the footage shows that it showed multiple sightings of the suspect vehicle 1 starting at 3:29 and ending at 4:20. These sightings show suspect vehicle 1 make an initial pass 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residence and then leave via Walletta Drive. Based off the experience of the patrol officer in a residential neighborhood, very limited number of vehicles travel this area in the early morning hours. The suspect's vehicle can be seen entering the area a 4th time at approximately 4:04 a.m. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Drive, stopping, turning around in front of 500 Queen Road 52, and then driving back westbound on King Road. And then when the suspect vehicle is in front of the King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen making a 3-point turn and then driving eastbound again down Queen Road.
Yeah.
And the next time it's seen is departing King Road at 4:20 at a high rate of speed.
Now, just to confirm, because if we're facing the front of the house, which is this way, this is King here, right? And that's King here in the front, and Queen is off to the side here. So it's like King, Queen, like that, if I'm not mistaken. Queen is the side road.
Yeah, but Queen is the side it would be on the kitchen side, it would be on the kitchen window side, not the other side.
No, I don't think so. Hold on. I don't think so, Adam. But let's see.
Well, the front of the house is King Road, because King Road is where the address was, right?
Let me just, I will pull up Google Maps just to make our life a little simpler on that one. Okay, so if this is the house, Queen Road is right here. Right here. Okay, so hold on. Where's King Road? It was pointing. It has all the things on it, so why is it not?
Queen Road's right there.
No, I know Queen Road's right there, but it's not showing it. It's because I put the thing there because that's where. Oh, there's okay. Here. Okay, so here's King Road.
Yeah. And that's the side the King is on.
So Queen Road is the one that runs in front of the house.
Yes.
And King is the one that runs. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I was talking about Queen Road, but I thought Queen Road was this one.
Yeah, no, that's just like the little alley in between. I mean, that still might be Queen Road, but because that's the apartment complex there on the right.
Okay. So this is King Road, and this is that road, Walletta Drive. So basically, like three times, you said 4 times, I guess. 3 times prior.
Yeah, and then 4th time is when he actually got there.
Okay. All right.
And even then, he's unsuccessfully, which the unsuccessful parking. I'm like, was he under the influence of something?
I was gonna say, when I heard that too, I was like, wait, unsuccessful parking where?
It just made me. That just confused me a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so let's come back off this for a second and come back on here. And so welcome Crime Sleuthin to the show, to the live. And so are you there?
I am.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Okay.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're fine.
No, yeah, I was gonna say this is about the right time. Only because I know how time flies, goes fast, and That's why I was like, okay, an hour. But thank you for sending that virtual tour. I totally forgot that I had that one. A different Callie, not Callie, but a different Callie had sent that one. And I meant to actually show it, and I totally forgot about it. So thank you for sending that and reminding me about that, because it really does give you the feel of being in the house and seeing it in your head properly and give you a better visual for sure.
Yes. The PCA does not say which direction he was coming from either. It doesn't say if she saw him coming down the stairs or if she saw him coming from Zana's room. So that's kind of confusing. You know what I mean? But on the thing where he was like circling the neighborhood and parking and then going around, and that's just crazy. I can't believe that he finally ended up parking right in front of the house, because that's where they got the tire tracks. That's where he was seen taking off from.
Yeah,
that's just insane. He could have parked at the apartment,
Thanks, Jeff.
not been seen. He could have parked on that little side road, and there would have been no footage there. So I don't understand why he had to have seen the camera. Don't criminals look for cameras?
Right. Well, one would think.
I mean, he thought he was so smart, but apparently he's not.
I mean,
I have so many questions that I'm looking for.
Okay, well go ahead.
No. I'm not going to sit here and ask them all. This is just stuff, I'm going to looking through the PCA that I was like.
Well,
so
what's a couple of your questions that you have?
Let's see. He's going to go murder people, but he parked right out front. That was one thing that stood out to me. After, it looked like he was looking for a place to park, but he parked out in the open in the end. Let's see.
It doesn't actually say where he parked. It doesn't actually say where he parked. It just says the last time he was seen on camera.
Yeah, I think it can be kind of surmised by the takeoff marks that were right outside the home, that they were taking a lot of photographs.
But it said he passed by. It said he passed by 3 times prior, and he at one point he went up on the curb or something, and then he did a 3-point turn. Then he unsuccessfully tried to park in front of the house. So I mean, those tire tracks could have been made during one of those attempts.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know. I'm speculating the same as you. I'm just kind of responding to kind of what your question was as far as what my thoughts are. Who knows?
I remember a comment early on from Chief Fry when he said he was he would like very much to understand why. He wouldn't say any more, but he said he would like to understand why there was no 911 call before the 11:58, basically noon. Now we know why, because she had heard weird-ish 3 times and then looked out her door, saw weird-ish, and then locked her door. I don't know. Maybe I'm brave. I would have at least gone out there and locked that door. I would have been checking on my roommates. I don't know. But
right.
We can't judge. We really, really can't judge.
No. Especially since people
I'm so glad that nobody that I could see anywhere doxed where these 2 surviving roommates are located. I'm so glad. I think he was probably looking for them during this time. I would bet anything on it. I really would. He probably would have loved to get his hands on those survivors. So I'm really glad that nobody at least doxed them. But, the other neighbors nearby, like the blue house next door with the other camera, they, blurred that out on Google. And I thought that probably was going to end up being connected in some way. And I guess that's where the other camera was.
I'm so confused by that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why they blurred out that house. They didn't want the killer to be able to come back and look and see for cameras and put anybody else in danger. It's really sad that the neighbor, Maddie, was doxxed on YouTube. Yeah. That's really sad.
You mean the blue house, the dirty girl? or that's what they called her.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about?
I don't want to name any creators, but the one that put out the insinuation that she may have been involved in noise complaint calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not cool.
okay.
Not cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I have so many questions, but you guys have covered so much in such a little time. It's been really cool.
One thing I was confused about with like the camera that picked up the audio of the thud or whatever and the crying, as that house. I assumed it was that house right next door, but when you look on Google Maps, it's the house across the street, and
So
I'm
it was
like,
right.
not, and so I'm like, it's confusing to me because I mean, typically everywhere I've ever lived, even number houses are on one side of the street, odd number houses are on the other side of the street.
Well, this one was 1112.
Right, but if you look at Google Maps, it places that house across the street.
I'm trying to see where that one is.
Can you pull that back up? Because I thought it was the blue house right next door.
I did too.
One sec. Jeff, which one on here is that on your Google Earth? Because Jeff has like a whole timeline that he sent.
Wow, that's a lot.
Oh, I know, but he's got it all in chronological order. So like, okay, so, let's start off with here. This is the traffic stop. Okay, so this is exactly where that traffic stop happened on August 21st at 11:37 p.m. on Farm Road and Pullman Highway. Okay, so that's basically, again, this is in chronological order here, it looks like. On the 10th of the 14th, so this is October, it says, this is Brian's traffic stop again on October 14th. The one that he was speaking about, Bryan was detained as part of a traffic stop by a WSU police officer. Upon review of that body cam and report of the stop, Kohberger was the sole occupant driving that 2015 Elantra. Okay, then on the 22nd fall, this is great. Thanks, Jeff. He's just, some people are good at this stuff, and I appreciate that in people, because it's definitely not me. I'm not this, I can do it, but not like
this is Jeff H in chat.
Yeah, this is Jeff H in chat. He was on the show the one night, and for a little bit on the second night, his daughter was getting a haircut. Here, sorry, I'm going to take.
He's saying double click on them to go to the next one, not just click once. You have to double click.
So if I did.
Well, see, now he's overestimating our abilities.
Okay, so I love flying through the air like this. This is my airplane ride. Okay, so this is where he applied for internship on the 13th of November at 12:58. Elantra spotted. Let's see here. I think that's supposed to say pursuant. Hey, Jeff, the only thing I have to say is that your little grammar there could be a little bit better. I'm even. I think I beat you on that department. Pursuant to the records provided by a member of the interview panel of Pullman Police Department. There we go. Hey, Deb, did you write that? We learned that Kohberger's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensic. These records also show Kohberger wrote an essay when he applied for internship with the Pullman Police Department. I feel like this is a talk text thing. In fall of 2022, Kohberger wrote in his essay he had an interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technology.
Well, he accomplished that goal.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So on the same day, phone utilized cellular. So this is where they got the cellular 2:42 a.m. on November 13th. Okay. So this is on November 13th. The cellular phone was so Brian's apartment. Okay. And then we go to the 2:44 a.m. Whoops, did I click? I need to click. You said double click. Okay, so at 2:44 a.m., this is where he's spotted. Suspect vehicle was observed at WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 2:47 a.m., okay, wait, why are we going back to his apartment? That doesn't make sense. Left apartment. Wait, what happened there? I'm confused. 242 is okay, that's 1630, that's his apartment. 244 was back over near the house. 247, something's wrong on that one, I think. You think? I think something's wrong on this one because he didn't go there and then back to his apartment, right? I'm not sure. I can't see chat, Jeff, so I'm not sure if you're saying anything. Okay, so let's see this one. So at 2:53, the white sedan is consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1 while traveling southwest. Okay, so this is one on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. Okay. Oh, right. And his apartment's just up back over there. Yeah. Okay. And then we go to 3:26 a.m. and now he's boom over here. Did I click on that one wrong? Sorry, guys. I'm taking you for a ride again. So if we were over there, maybe I was over here when I was saying that. I think that's what happened. I thought we were at the apartments. So that's my bad. Yeah. 242, 244. Okay. So we are in the Washington Pullman area. Okay. Gotcha. Now I see the errors of my ways. Okay. So let's go. So 226 was back over here. I just want to make you guys seasick almost. I was looking at this thing.
Oh, no, I love it.
I know. I do too. I get a kick out of it.
I just wish it went all the way up to the globe and it came back down each time.
I know. So he was observed traveling westbound on the 700 block of Indiana Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26. So his Elantra then was spotted right here at 3:28. Okay, that's the Steiner Avenue in Idaho, 95 in Moscow. On this video, it appeared subject vehicle was not displaying front license plate.
Right.
Yeah, I don't need to build anything anymore. Thanks, Jeff. Okay. Elantra
was any of those the gas station footage? The footage that they got later.
The which one? Oh, I'm not sure yet. We're going to be surprised. Jeff, don't spoil it for us in chat. No, just kidding. Jeff, is there something with the gas station on this one? Probably. I'm not sure. We're just going down the list here. So this is 3:30. Okay, so it passes by the house. Hold on. Do I have it open? Okay. Elantra passes by the house 3 times.
Yeah.
3:45. He's okay. So at 3:45.
That's when he should have gone by the gas station.
Yeah, this is where the gas. Oh, yeah. So 3:45 was the gas station. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heading back towards the house.
I always had it in my head was 3:45. He was leaving.
No, he was heading. They said he was heading towards the house in that footage.
Yeah. Well, sometimes the information overfloweth and my brain explodes.
Yep.
Because I always took that as being that it was that was the person whoever did it, leaving. Okay, yeah. So that's the gas station.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, the gas station was not mentioned in the affidavit. I'm speculating that because of the address of the gas station and the Steiner thing, that's where the gas that he would have passed by there. So, is that speculation?
Okay. All right.
The timing does add up.
Yeah. Okay, and so So this is the DoorDash. Okay, so DoorDash is at 4 a.m. 4:04. This is so at 4:04. The Elantra, okay, can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, which we all know King Road's right here. So King Road, and stopping and turning around in front of 500 Queen, and Queen's this one, Road 52, and then driving back westbound, okay, on King Road, okay, back over here. When the suspect vehicle is in front of King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, which is here, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn and then driving eastbound down Queen Road, which is obviously this way. Never eat shredded wheat, if anyone forgets. Okay. So then this is, okay, so that's 4:04. Okay, so meaning there has to be some minutes in there. If it's 4:04 that he was seen, there has to be time to park and get out of the vehicle, so we're probably more looking at about the 4:10 mark, I would think, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, this has to be very fast.
It was very fast.
Like even faster than fast, because he still has to get out of go park the car, get out, blah 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 blah. Jeff, just
and then go down the back of the house, because I think I agree. I think he went in and out the back.
Yeah. Can I just really quickly? I want to say, and Nancy, I agree with you. And I think that that law enforcement saying the 3 to 4 a.m. thing was very strategic. As far as, they knew. They altered little details that they put out, like such as the 2011 to 2013 Elantra. So they wanted to let this killer know that they knew certain things, but that they weren't quite sure, because so it gave him this confidence that So they thought. So he was sitting there thinking, "Oh, I'm in a 2015. They don't know that." And then he knows, "Oh, I didn't get there till after 4 a.m." So they're wrong with the time. So they knew these things right off the bat. They just put little things out there that are slightly off to make sure the killer doesn't know that they're onto him. Just like we know that they knew who he was on November 29th. But
and I think it also gave them a way to filter out good and bad tips.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because that's why I had it in my head that the drive-by of the gas station was 3:45 on the way out, because of that time frame of 3 to 4. That's why that was stuck in my head, that 3:45 would make sense. Sometime around the 3 a.m. mark is when, thinking about now that you see this and you see it, what the true timeline is like and what the true vehicle was.
Well, even think about how long it took them to correct the original timeline. Remember how long they said that Kaylee and Maddie they got home at 1:45, when her sister was saying for a week, like weeks, that that they know for a fact they got home at 1:56 a.m. and it took law enforcement like 2 or 3 weeks before they actually corrected that timeline. And they knew that the timeline are right off the bat, but they didn't correct that aspect of it until the sister had come out and basically kind of been like, no, it was 1:56 or 2:56.
Yeah. I think she kind of forced their hand on that, because she was vocal. And then they probably had to take some time to analyze it and say, okay, do we just go ahead and admit this or what?
Right. Yeah, so they were purposely. I am curious, though, when it comes to that, though, is if the sister knew about some of the video footage. I'm surprised she didn't know about the DoorDash person coming, or if she did, why she never said anything, or if she was asked not to.
Right, and that could be it. One thing I do want to ask about this, because I knew that the camera was on this side of the house, but because the house is here and this picked up noise and a thud or something, that seems a little far. I thought that maybe they had a secondary camera here. or something. Do we know if there was a secondary camera?
Or
Are
maybe it
you
was
able to see which one is 1112, by the way? If it's the first one by the street, the second one behind it, or even the house behind 1122? Does it say the numbers?
1 second. Wait to see the signature examined. He has same signs and handwriting as BG in Delphi. Oh, I see what you're saying. Actually, a lot of us care, actually, Meezer Mom. To be honest with you, I seen that comment and I was like, why is this person saying who cares? There's a lot of people that care, actually, because these people wouldn't exist, right, Alexa? If it wasn't for you guys that do the profiling and stuff like that, to be able to, give, synopsis or whatever, a little bit of insight into what the typical things usually can mean. Doesn't mean that it falls into that category every single time, but
right.
it's through all the times of anything. It doesn't matter if it's a characteristics of personalities or handwriting or body movement, facial movement. It actually all does matter. To be honest, I mean, if you don't think it does, then fine, that's up to you. But
Yeah, watch Mindhunter.
Yeah. So Alexa, what do you? No offense, Mom, Meezer Mom, but I'm gonna pick on you for 1 second. Alexa, so what do you have to say when someone says handwriting? Who cares? Did she sneak away?
That's what she has to say.
Is that what you have to say, Alexa? All right. Well, I have the same thing. I have the same thoughts. But I mean, just think about it. That's a very, like I said, can be a very important thing. It really does say a lot about a person in a lot of ways, especially when it's not just one. We're not talking about like just one O and whatever. It's a consistency of, many multiple things, right? Whether it's the E's or whether it's whatever, this is how they build profiles. So,
I believe in handwriting. I know I have learned a little bit as far as your handwriting can actually determine your health. Did you know that? You can actually have indications of how healthy you are or if you've got certain diseases by the size and style and tilting of your handwriting.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's crazy. If you start to get smaller and smaller handwriting and it starts to tilt a certain way, that can be an early indicator of Parkinson's, for example. Your handwriting is very important. And I have big circle, bubbly handwriting, and
so do I.
My personality, and some
Exactly.
people are really narrow and stiff, and I think it matters. I think you can tell a lot about a person with their handwriting.
Well, that's just the thing. And again, each to their own thoughts. Hey, if Meezer Mom doesn't think that handwriting counts for anything, like that's our prerogative. I think a lot of us will disagree with that assessment, just because it does all matter. Facial movements.
Well,
don't meddle with our Alexa, especially when she's not sitting. Okay, especially when she's not sitting in the chair. I'm literally looking at her on the screen and I see an empty chair, and I didn't realize when I was asking it. I was assuming that her camera was on.
I didn't either, Sonny.
Yeah, and I realized that her mic's sitting there, which looks like a big juice container, by the way.
We're incredible sleuths.
Yeah.
Look at Brian Laundrie's handwriting, for example.
Oh,
that gave away a lot about him. So,
you know what? Many different aspects talks about that. But anyways, you know what? I want to go back to the Google Earth, but the sheath can be explained, especially if he punched them out. He got a nuts thing about boxing. He was trying to make it look like cases in the area where there was a face punched out, lost control sheath. I'm not even sure I understood that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm excited to when I wonder if Jeff gets to the part on. I don't know if Jeff gets to the part on here where they talk about Johnson, Idaho. But I would let me know when we get there.
Copy and paste was way. Hey, no problem. You know what, Jeff? I can usually read the best typos in the world because I make them myself. But yeah, that thing is pretty consistent. Right? It's still legible. It's still legible. That's all that counts because still legible. And this is a great job of the Google program. It's far better than my work. This would be like my twin. My twin would be all spreadsheeted out and all like this stuff. I try. Trust me, I try to do it. I'm self-taught for everything pretty much. So, I mean, I grasp things, but I have to usually learn them first. Okay, so let's go to the Elantra. So 417. Sorry, 417 was this security camera, and okay, so just to double check with you, Adam. Are you saying that? So this is the camera here. So this must be the 111112 right here.
That's right. That was my understanding. Yes.
Yeah, it would seem weird that it was over here, but
Okay,
and
so that is the blue house then, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I just know that when we first pulled up the Google Map thing, it made it look like it was across the street, but the picture I had was the blue house, and so I was confused. But I'm sure it's the blue house.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and their camera was missing for a while there, remember? And then all of a sudden,
They
when
took it. Yeah.
Richard Lee Investigates was out this way, he was showing.
Yeah. Remember, we even talked about it because it looked like it was where like the light would screw in, and then it was gone, but then they returned it. So that's how we knew there was a camera there.
So at 4:20, he was departing at high speed. Suspect vehicle is next seen departing the area off of King Road residence. Okay, this is King Road, don't forget. So down here, down Juanita. And so, okay, let's see here. Let's go play. So I believe the suspect vehicle likely exited the neighborhood of Palouse River Drive, right? So Palouse. Which one am I on here? Which one's the highlighted one? Palouse. Well, this is down here, Juanita. Right?
I'm assuming the purple flashing one.
I was thinking so. But then we got yellow and blues and this is okay. No, this is the
That's Sigma Chi. That's Sigma Chi.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I gotta step down now. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for having me up. I'll still be in chat, but I gotta get
okay.
up.
Thank
you. Bye.
Just let me know if you want to come on again and talk because we will be on tomorrow night as well.
Okay.
Right.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye. Good night. Nice meeting you.
Okay. Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you. I'm assuming that way off to the right is the, like you said, is the Palouse one. See, way over to the right. That one? Is that Palouse?
Elantra. Well, this is. Hold on.
Well,
okay, this is the high speed. He's departing here.
Jeff said it was way off to the right on the screen you had before.
Okay, way off to the right. So let's click on it again. It's taking us over.
See, way off to the right.
Yeah, it is this one because it has a question mark in the thing. So so it was over there. Okay, yeah. Okay, the thing just turned around on me. That's why. So when I showed it earlier, I was there as well on the Palouse and that Constatega thing or whatever. But it's just that the map's more. This is north facing here now. Okay, so then 4:48, phone turned on. Okay, so right here.
I mean, your phone being turned off for the exact time of the killings is basically as incriminating as just leaving it on.
Right. Right. So yeah, 4:48. Let's turn the phone on. Mind you, there's a little bit of a difference there. So we got 4:25 and then to 4:48. That's almost 25 minutes. It's 23 minutes to be exact.
Right.
So
I think I would leave my phone off until the next day.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was asleep. I would have left my phone off from the time I was at home until the time I was back at home.
And then, right, this is the This is the one on Johnson Road, but it's really, I believe, Johnson Avenue. I think it was called. So that's where the Johnson Avenue one was. And then, okay, so Johnson Road, West Palouse, Moscow intersects. Okay, direct the white sedan was unobserved, turning north at Bishop Boulevard. Okay, Bishop Boulevard. And then over here again to Cam 3, wherever that says, right here. Elantra spotted here. Okay. Cam 4. And this is the Washington State University office over here. Washington State College is here. Okay, so Cam 4, then Cam 5 is right here, right beside it, so we can actually go down to Cam 6. And Cam 6, go Cougars. Is that why that's called Cougar Way? Huh. Isn't there a Cougar Way there probably? So that's Cam 6. Great visual. Okay. And so then the Elantra traveled south on Stadium Drive, traveling back to Kohberger's residence. Okay. And then at 9 a.m. on the 13th still.
Before we go back, okay, so before we
Sure.
jump to that time, so I'm very interested in the time he left the house at 4:20. So what made him what made him do what he did from the time he left the house until he got home at 5:20 something in the morning? So there's like an hour and 10 minutes when we know it's only a 10-minute drive. So what did he do in the hour and 10 minutes after he committed the murders before he went home?
He was probably freaking out, right? Probably the adrenaline and everything.
And one of my questions would be, is the murder weapon somewhere in the location between those places?
Right. Probably.
I think he's so disorganized that I would have bet that he probably had it in his house.
Well, the only reason I suspected that is because the Johnson Road thing geographically makes no sense if you're going from one place to the other. And so I'm like, what made him go to those areas unless he has a reason? Like, I'm trying to put myself in the mind of someone that's just done this horrific thing. And they think they're smarter than everyone, so they then think they have to overthink the fact of how to handle it. So that's why I'm focusing on that time between him leaving the house and going home, because it's a long time to, one, probably be wearing, even if you cleaned up, clothing that probably had DNA on it. And there's not a lot of cars out on the roads at that time of night. I don't know. That to me is another anomaly in it that I don't think anyone's really focusing on yet. But I think will probably come into play.
Yeah. Carol. Yeah, I mean, basically all these cameras are them following the path of all the cameras that are caught the Elantra driving. So meaning there obviously like 6 cameras that are catching him from his home driving along. So whatever the cameras caught, regardless, they obviously could, I'm sure, make out that it was probably the same male in each of that vehicle. I don't know how well their cameras are, but regardless, it's showing basically a clear path of his house to Moscow. His DNA is obviously there. So I mean, this is a small area, but yet obviously a lot of cameras caught him along the way. So that there's no to me, that's just like a given. It's like here we go to get there, here we go to get back home, but he just took off, like Adam said, in that yeah, like where was that hour time gone? Did he panic, like Alexza said? Probably. He was like, I'm sure he was on an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
And he probably didn't know what the heck he was doing after that. What should he do? Should I go
He's
home?
because remember, he's a control freak. So he in his mind is always trying to regain control of his mind. So, even if he's wrong or he's deluded, he thinks that he's in control. So his number one goal is always be in control.
Right. I like, I'm sure, like, I mean, to me, this is his first time, I feel. And I feel like, what he probably, it's kind of like, when you go on a vacation and what you picture in your head and how it turns out are two different things.
Right. Or like marriage or children.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that it's like, what you envisioned and how you mapped it out and how you played it out in your head and how you did this. We all know that nothing ever really goes as planned. Obviously, the guy can't do a 3-point turn or whatever, or had to do a 3-point turn. But, like, it's just one of those things. I'm sure once the crime was actually committed, if he did it, allegedly, supposedly, whatever, that if he did do this, that his, like I said, he probably, his mind, he's probably on an adrenaline rush, doesn't know exactly what to do, but he has to, of course, gain control because you have to go back into your, fight or flight mode, I guess, in a sense. But, so yeah, if I'm on two minds about that. Either he ditched the weapon somewhere, because he thought probably he got away with this, I'm sure. Or he actually just cleaned it up and had it back home. And even though isn't it according to when they were doing the press conference, didn't like, I mean, they manipulated.
Chief Fry has said they do not have the murder weapon.
Correct.
And he would, at that point, he would have had no reason to lie about it. I'm not saying not saying that he disposed of the weapon, but I'm just going off of the information that we have. And, and to me, that is that's the part that, because I can't imagine him doing it while he's driving across country with his dad. Mm-hmm. Unless there's a factor of the story we don't know. But,
right.
Well, but again, I'm a profiler. I'm not a psychologist. But I can be a little bit of an control freak. So I can put myself in that mind state a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so at 9 a.m. he leaves home and then he travels
back
over here
to the crime scene.
Okay. Now so that's really
5 hours later he goes back to the crime scene.
Oh, I was unaware of this as we were reading that. I was still unaware of that. Okay. So he travels at 9 a.m. to Moscow. Little bugger. Huh. Mm-hmm. And then he goes back there and he literally
goes by the house.
Was it by cellular data that they
police? Yeah.
I think he wanted to know. I think he wanted to see if the police were there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
this is like 101. I mean, this is like killers 101. They always like 98%, they all return to the crime scene.
Right.
One way or another.
Yeah.
Which now, I feel like, and Alexa, correct me if I'm wrong, but in this day and age, not only do they go back to the crime scene, but then they, instead of necessarily inserting themselves into the case, they insert themselves into the social media aspect of the case.
Yeah, because now it's so much easier, right?
And we're gonna find, and that's going to come into play. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, Duty Ron's on. He has 6.1K people watching.
Oh, well, I mean, same as us.
Hey, Duty Ron, send a few over here, dude. Yeah, let us crack 100. So, okay. Let's see here. So he goes there. Okay, comes back home. And then remember again, I showed you guys, some of you don't remember, there is a video that Plunder had out yesterday, and I know it's been out before, but There's a video at the 2:25 mark on Plunder's video yesterday where it shows the car that's driving behind on Juanita or Wallanita Street, whatever that one's called, Wallanita. Yeah, and you can see what looks to be that it's probably Bryan. I mean, if he's brazen enough to do this, that is probably his vehicle on Wallanita that you can see in the video camera of the news footage in the background. But it's on Plunder's video. It's in our last live as well. The actual link to Plunder's video is in the description of this live. So you can click on it there as well. And you can see it because it will say Plunder. So then he returns home. Then he goes at 12:36 p.m. Oh, he can't sleep, can he? He goes to the chef's shop, which is the Kate's Cup of Joe.
Right.
So the white Elantra. Okay. Whoops. Oh, wait. That's the same one. I see. So same thing. And then he goes over to Albertson's grocery store area over here. Huh. Really do.
He goes and gets coffee. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And then at 5:32 p.m., I mean, this guy has not slept probably. He's on a high.
Another thing that made me wonder if he was, and I'm just speculating, but if was he on something when he committed the crimes?
Right. Like the heroin and stuff. Like
No, it wouldn't be heroin. It would be an upper.
Probably an upper, yeah.
It would be either alcohol or an upper.
Yeah. So he's over here at 5:32, and then the phone stops reporting.
Right, and this is where I think the murder weapon probably really is.
Right, because that is an odd.
This is right. Yeah, Johnson, Idaho is where I think the murder weapon is.
Right. That's you're right. He probably went for a drive, got rid of the weapon.
An hour away.
Right. Doesn't make sense. Chances are it was probably something like that. The phone stopped reporting at 5:36. And that's pretty much it for the 13th. And then on the 18th of November, he gets a new license plate. Numbers for the white Elantra 2015. And then on the 29th, the Elantra was queried, which we know, right? So that was when it was queried. I mean, this is when they really knew that Bryan had this Elantra, and this would be the same Elantra, I guess, that obviously it was seen on all the cameras.
And that's the day they know his name, basically.
Right, exactly. On the 13th of the 12th, that's when they start driving away from obviously Idaho and go to Loma, Colorado. Right. And this is when they make their trek now, to Hancock. And they're so that's the next one that they show. That's when they query him by law enforcement, right?
Right. And you'll see the body cam footage, I guarantee, of his seatbelt violation, the 14th one, and then this one probably in the next couple days. Because I'm sure people have done FOIA requests of them.
Right.
Although maybe with the gag order, that maybe they won't come out. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how all that stuff works myself. All this.
Yeah.
What's allowed to come out or not allowed to come out when the gag order. Yeah. I mean, besides them saying that these people can't talk. So then that's the home, and that's where there was a drone flying over and over and over. Trash was recovered for DNA. So that's where they pretended to be, garbage guys, basically, and got some trash. Let's see. Phone records, Kohbergers, and an address is say. Anyways, that's where they got some, I guess, the DNA or whatever off of something like the trash.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Apparently a coffee cup, but
okay. So obviously the key locations that Jeff has here is King Road, Bryan's apartment, Pullman, Washington, Lewiston, Washington. Why Lewiston? Why Lewiston, Washington? I'm just going for a flight now. Woo, yeah. Boom. Oh, that's where. Why Lewiston, Washington? Is that where? This is 8:48, November 13th. So this must be Whitman County. Is that what it is? I just want to know that I'm in.
Is that where you went and got coffee?
Maybe. Not really sure. Jeff, if you can answer that one. I just don't remember seeing the name Lewiston, Washington yet. Victims' movements was 1:30 a.m. at the grub truck. So over at the grub truck. And then K&M seen Madison, and okay, that's where they were seen on the corner on the camera when they were coming around the corner with Jackass.
Poor
And then
poor Jacks, all the Jacks, and poor Adam.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. And then Chapin and Kernodle were over at this is where they were at the Chi, Sigma Chi. Notes. What kind of notes we got? Of travel of the 8458 phone. I can't make out that typo. Phone, whatever it says. The early morning.
When we were reading that earlier, saying my dyslexia was every time that I was like I couldn't read every time. I was
know.
Like eight.
Yeah.
But
I know, right? When I caught you the first time, and I was like, no, and then but you kind of where you know how even the same thing, you get a little mental block when you.
Wait, it's my dyslexia. It comes with numbers. It's like the dyslexia. It just pops in every once in a while, and it was bad today.
Yeah, AT&T. Like, look at this one. Hey, Jeff. What the heck do you call this one? BCTRRCCN. Yeah, okay, maybe there's a couple. But anyway, you guys get the gist of it. Ooh, yeah. Look at how this thing types. It makes us all look good.
Tony, I don't want you to talk about the police officer in Pennsylvania that way, because there was one that was not a little person.
What? For all the guards.
Because there was definitely one officer in Pennsylvania that was by no means little in any way. And I will not have someone talking bad about him.
Okay. And let's see here.
And if you haven't seen the picture, you can find it out if you just type in hot Pennsylvania Idaho cop.
Okay. So that's good for this. Thank you so much, Jeff. Really appreciate that. That was great. I love flying around on Google for sure. And I especially like flying around when somebody else does it for me. And puts it all together in a really easily simplified manner like that. You know, it saved me a lot of time for sure. Thank you. I was working on it. Then I was like, oh, this is too much right now. But so let's hit stop to that. Okay. And okay, so Alexa, back to you on this. So after seeing everything we just saw again.
Give me 1 second.
No, I'll give you 2. Okay.
I apologize. I have somebody woke up again. Just give me 1 second.
Oh yeah, no. You know what? Let me just quickly.
Alexa, did the chloroform? Like, did your husband wake up?
Right. Yeah. Right. Where is CD's thing? I want to see if it's still in there because he's the one that sent me that one where it looked like spaghetti going over his analysis. Where are you, buddy? Where's the now? Oh, there he is, way down there. No, okay. Who's the one that sent me? I thought it was CD. Who's the one that sent me the green spaghetti flying over the drone? Someone sent me that. Maybe was it Kelly? Not Kelly, but Kelly. Who sent me that yesterday? I thought it was CD, but I guess not. Was it Kelly? Because I thought that was quite funny. It was off of Twitter. That's the plane. Yeah, too much stuff here. It was on Twitter. Hmm. Just trying to look back for a second here. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, right, Adam?
Yes. Sorry, I was muted.
Oh, I can't remember who sent it to me.
I know I've seen it. Because I was talking about it earlier today.
Yeah.
But I know that I didn't send it to you. But
Well, maybe can you take a look for it for a second? And I'm just gonna pull up quickly again. I want to pull up Plunder's video, just for a second again. I'm gonna show you that one about the vehicle for anyone that is new that's watching. And if you guys again could please give this video, this live, a like and a share. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And don't argue. Just do it. Right, Ray? You were told. Okay, so that was, what was I doing again? Plunder. That's right. Okay, so Plunder. Again, if anyone's not subscribed to Plunder, she does really good videos. She has 138K subscribers, and this is the one I speak of right here.
Edition hearing. We can finally.
Okay, so can you see it on screen? Okay, let me take this down, and let me make it okay. Now it's bigger right here. Okay, so look where the arrow, you guys can see that there's an arrow pointing to the right side of the screen again. So if Bryan was there literally at 9 o'clock in the morning to check and see about his work, chances are that this is his vehicle coming up here.
Talk about this, and let's talk about the confusion over whether Bryan really had a connection with Kaylee Goncalves or down at Willard Airport in Illinois. Fusion over whether Bryan really had a connection with Kaylee Goncalves.
Okay, you guys see that vehicle right there on Wallanetta? Okay, that chances are, and I've looked at that vehicle yesterday, and it really does look like it's an Elantra. I'm gonna think that would be a very good guesstimate that is again Bryan checking on his work. It's the next day after the murders, and I wouldn't doubt if maybe he probably didn't have his phone with him, so he probably didn't ping, but that the vehicle was there I wonder, I hope somebody submitted this. I'm sure, I would think so. That vehicle there. I think we can probably think that's probably is this car, to be honest with you. It's very likely. Oh, okay, thank you, Adam. That's exactly what I was. Okay, that's the picture. That's the picture.
Sorry, I was muted. One's a little video, and then the other two are pictures of the same thing. Different views.
Okay, that's the picture. And then, is this the video? 1 second. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, we'll put that on pause and we'll come back to that.
Sorry, back.
It's okay.
Alexza, I'm glad that your Christmas tree is still up because my stuff is still up, and I needed to get down.
Well, you know what it is? Tomorrow is Epiphany Day.
Epiphany.
So I have to put my kids. This is why I don't want them to come downstairs because I don't want them to see their gifts.
I didn't get a gift for Epiphany, Alexa.
What the heck?
You didn't get one from the Kings? Seriously?
Epiphany is the day that the wise men got to. Is apparently the day that the wise men got to Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so tradition says you're not supposed to take down your Christmas tree until the wise men have gotten to Jesus.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this ever. First time.
Well,
you're not Catholic, are you?
And you got a gift on Epiphany, and I didn't.
Yeah, there you go. Suck it. Okay. Well, I just glossed with my gift from Callie. My little.
And I'm out of gloss.
Are you? No, I got tons. I got tons now. But yeah, honestly, like I had to do little shepherd stuff. Mary had a little lamb thing, in the away in a manger stuff. I did all that stuff. I went to Pentecostal Tabernacle. Is that Catholic? What is that? Whatever that is.
No, that's not Catholic.
Okay, call it what you will. I never heard of this Epiphany thing ever.
Really, King's Day, the three kings that brought Jesus.
Right. Gold, myrrh, and
we three kings of Orient are
frankincense, myrrh, and gold, right?
Yeah.
I guess I just knew the song, but I didn't know what the meaning. I never. So, because it is to do with the we three kings of Orient, right?
But anyway, let's get back to true crime.
That was right there in Infinity Day during true crime. Okay, so obviously, if you guys aren't dizzy by now, but that's on the screen. The circling of the house, and let's see if we can make it bigger. There you guys go.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. Tell me that's not deliberate.
Right. I don't know. I feel like they're making a spatula. It's like they're making a little spatula with a little little wooden
and if you look at the time that this is happening in, I don't know if it starts over or not, but 10 p.m.
Yeah.
To 12 something p.m. This is what this is happening for 2 hours.
And the other one's like, we're gonna land. Oh no, it's a drone, right? It's a drone.
Yeah, at 4,500 feet. Well, it's a drone, but it's a small plane, but it's technically a drone. In my opinion, it's an unmanned aircraft, because a plane large enough for a person to be on would make noise.
Yeah. Dave Hodges.
And it flying at 4,500 feet is high enough that a big enough drone could fly. And it would have to be on the FAA's registry, because planes would need to see it if they were going to be flying into that area.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Or normal, your normal, store-bought drones are not gonna be that big or fly that high normally.
Yeah, for me, what's going through my head right now is hindsight, when family members, including Bryan Kohberger's family, literally get to see this, that night, that day, this is what the plane was circling around many loops
for 2 hours.
Yeah, over their head, and then they had no clue.
Right, and that's why I don't think it was a larger airplane, because they would have heard that.
And also, everybody was shocked and saying, "Oh, is it because it's a high profile case?" No, this is very common. Usually, this is exactly what they do before they send a SWAT team in, because they want to get the heat signatures, because they want to make sure they need to account how many people are and where those people are.
And those things can all be equipped now to an unmanned. There doesn't have to be a person on the aircraft.
Mm-hmm. And they need to see where, they get a map of the house, and they need to see exactly where they are. So when they go in, they don't hurt anybody. They try to go in, usually it's with just one push of the door.
And this had 50 people involved. Did you remember when we heard that earlier that, in reporting about that there were 50 people involved in the that was in the Pennsylvania affidavit that we read a couple of days ago.
Because logistics, it takes a while. I mean, it's logistics, people that carry it out, then the people, usually the SWAT team, the one that actually goes is usually like a 10, 15, but everybody that works behind.
Yeah. And one thing I didn't realize, which I knew but I'd forgotten about, was in order to get a warrant, one of the reasons that this affidavit was probably as extensive as it is it takes more evidence to get a warrant if you're going to do a raid in the middle of the night than it does during, because normally a warrant is only a normal warrant can be executed from 6 a.m. until I believe 10 p.m. And anything after those hours, you have to require a different level of evidence to get the warrant.
I think they thought that he was like a high risk, and I think
Yeah.
that's why they chose that. Because usually the ones that I am familiar with, usually it's in the afternoon, the morning, whatever, or just when everybody gets back from work. But usually, like this one, is probably because they thought that
Well, clearly,
that he was a high risk.
I mean, just the fact that they, in Colorado and then in Indiana twice, both did stops to verify he was in the vehicle. And I'm assuming that those took place because of stops they made along the way that they then needed to make sure he was still in the vehicle.
I think so. I think they did that on purpose. I think those stops were done on purpose. I think they made the order to make sure that he was in the vehicle. Who was he in the vehicle with?
Right. And speculatively, I think the reason there was two of them in Indiana was because the one that was in 10 in the morning, now that we've seen the body cam footage from both of them, the one that was in 10 in the morning, I believe, is when he says, we're going to get Thai food, right? And then the one in 3 in the afternoon, or the one that was a few hours later, I think that they pulled them back over to make sure he was still in the vehicle.
Could be.
I mean, that's pure speculation.
No, I speculate the same thing. I think it was done on purpose. I think that those two stops are because they never ask him for registration, they never ask him for license, they've never asked, and that's the first thing they always ask you.
They asked very, very odd questions for a pullover like that.
I know. And it's very odd also the way the father, I am just going through my head because when the father says the mass shooting, and I'm then like, oh my God, if you only knew who you had next to you. I was like, oh Lord.
Yeah, and I heard, and I just heard tonight, I've not looked into it, but we heard the FBI, Fox News reported yesterday that the FBI directed the pullovers in Indiana. I've heard conflicting reports of that today now saying Indiana, that there are people in Indiana saying there's people in the FBI are saying they did not direct those.
Yeah, they're never going to say. Mm-hmm.
Of course, so I believe the Fox News reporting, which God, I never thought I'd say that in my life, but I think it is important to say that the FBI did apparently come out today and say that that they did not direct those pullovers. Mm-hmm. But I've not seen that corroborated though either, so I don't know.
So FBI, who just said tonight? They say no, FBI did not. FBI released a statement about it.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I still believe they did because of the nature of them, but
I think they don't want to say. I don't think they want to admit it just for future. The FBI never admits anything. They just don't want to.
It's no different when they're like when they're asked if a psychic, if they had a psychic and stuff like that, they literally stand there and lie to your face because they're not going to admit it to you. They're not going to tell you, and yet they do. I've seen it happen many times, multiple times. People that are within the system, because especially a person that I know that was working on a big case that you guys are well aware of, not Delphi, but another one. And it was like, I remember when the guy's standing up there talking that they didn't use this, but really they did, but they're not going to tell you that. So they're going to make it seem like they didn't, even though they asked the psychic to come, so
there's little things,
I mean, to me, those questions were weird as well. The way that it was like he didn't get a ticket either time. No. And then the one guy says, oh, well, if you already got a ticket earlier, I'm not going to give you another one. But those questions were weird. And I mean, it was strange.
And let's be honest, how many times have you been pulled over in your entire life for following someone closely? I mean, it's not something that police typically pull you over for unless you're doing a really, really, really specific, like tailing someone.
My only time I got pulled over, I will never forget. I was actually going to my dissertation for
we already
grad school.
know. We looked you up.
And I remember he pulled me over because I was going fast. And he was like, do you know how fast you were going? But I don't like arrogance. When you're arrogant, I'm like, no, get out of here. And I said, actually, yes, I do know how fast I was going. And he actually said you were going 70 miles. You're supposed to go 55. And I said, actually, no. I'm like, I was then going 70. I'm like, I was actually going 75.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're gonna
Right.
write me for a ticket, write me for the, and I just remember I disarmed him so badly that I
Yeah.
just remember he just like went back and he was like, and he glanced at me and he saw my books, my criminology books, my policing, and he goes, "Are you a cop?" And I said, "No." And then I explained what I was, and he let me go. So I was like, okay. It's just because sometimes they're so arrogant, and I just don't like when people are more arrogant. I mean, I respect them and I agree. I never should.
I don't like arrogance like that either. I know.
But just the way he like treated me, and I'm like, you know what? If you're gonna give me a ticket, I'm like, at least give me for what I was going. I wasn't going 70. I was going 75.
Yeah, right. I know, right? Get it right.
I got a ticket once on Valentine's Day for speeding, improper lane change, following a car too closely, speeding.
Oh my God!
And endangering the lives of others.
Right. Yeah. Go on.
Oh my
what
God.
else?
And I called the cop an asshole.
Good for you. Did you get points in your license for that?
No, I did not, because Alexa, that was before there was such a thing.
Why?
At least in Illinois, they did not have the point system yet.
Oh, thank God.
I was like 17.
Okay.
And sadly, because I was, a white kid, and I got, my parents got a lawyer, and it didn't even go on my record. Mm-hmm. I did have to go to defensive driving school, though, for 8 hours. Mm. And I was the only person there that had not gotten a DUI.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about it because there's none of those in my life, or my husband's. So we're good. Shar, hey Shar, how are you? By the way, that's my Canadian friend up there in Alberta, Canada here. Why didn't they pull him in as a POI before? They had his name weeks before the trip. I don't think Ellie was planning traffic stops.
No, and they probably needed forensics and everything, because even if you get one forensic back, you still need to, prove, because when you're gonna do that, you need to know 100%. Because if you make a mistake, it's your butt is gonna be on the line. So I think they waited.
Yeah, and everything, like I know that CD, who's an ex-officer, was saying to me was this was very routine that they would do as far as the monitoring of someone even across country like this. And he even talked about a time that he said there's nothing louder in the world. They don't have to do this anymore, but he said there's nothing louder in the world than when it's 1:00 in the morning and you're in someone's driveway trying to hook a tracker underneath someone's car, because the second that magnet hits the metal underneath the car, he said you can hear it all across the neighborhood. and they don't have to do that anymore, because they can use GPS and they can track people in ways.
Now it's so much easier. Back in the days, we used to be.
Yeah. And Jeff's absolutely right? It's just one of those things. I mean, how we think and how it actually goes is the best thing that they got was the trash in Pennsylvania. Exactly. They went through the trash because they know that they could find his DNA on something in it, and then that way they could for sure pin it to him, pin it to the sheath, and have a proper case in order. Like I said, the drone flying over, like this was all prepared. It wasn't just.
This was executed.
The DNA.
They had a month and a day. Sorry, Sonny.
No, go ahead.
I would say, because if they knew his name on the 29th of November, which we know they did because of the affidavit, and they executed the warrant on the 30th of December, right? That's they had 31 days basically to prepare this. And that's, if you look at also the timeline of when they kind of stopped doing press conferences. They kind of started holding things closer to their chest. It makes the timing all lines up. And that's when the law enforcement started to get criticized, because they said they weren't releasing information. But it's because they had information and so they were asking the public for pieces.
I think they did a stellar job myself. And honestly, I never, with them, I actually felt confident, and we even called it about them being arrested within a month. That an arrest would probably be made within a month. You could just feel it almost. You could almost feel like, hey, we're not really talking about too much or giving you guys anymore, because to me, they had it under control. I felt like they had it under control. I was never at any point did I think that they didn't, and again, not to compare it to Delphi, because we can't, because this is an A versus a D, in how it was handled. And it's just, I just felt the whole time was not, like I said, so I dived into it, but I wasn't diving as deep as some people. Right. If there's one thing I felt certain of, was that they were doing a good job. There's no way in heck that someone was going to get away with the Elantra thing. They were looking for it for a reason. Somebody was going to be calling the whistle no matter what on it, whoever pinpointed or the cameras and whatever. Because it was just, to me, like, once you have a vehicle and you're looking for this vehicle, you're going to find out who that person is soon. Right. And you will be laying your case. Yeah. So I never felt.
Hey, Chaotic. I have a question, but Alexza, did you have anything to add to what Sunny was saying before I asked the question?
What's the question?
Oh, no. Well, I said, did you have anything to add to what Sunny was saying?
No. Yeah, I do. I actually, no. With that, the only thing that I always thought it was odd is that they, when they said that it was they didn't know if it was a 2011 or 2013, they don't make mistakes like that.
They knew.
I think that was calculated. I think that was their way of sending a message to him, kind of like knowing, like, hey, we kind of know, but maybe we know, but we don't really want to tell you. I think
just like the 3 to 4 a.m. thing. Like, they knew it was after 4 a.m., but they put out 3 to 4 a.m. to let the killer think he was smarter than everyone, and that they weren't quite onto everything. But my question kind of goes to what Jeff was saying about what do we think the defense will paint. What type of defense do we think they're going to go with? And, I think one important thing is, which I found this incredibly odd, before, not odd, but before, while Bryan was in the air in the 3-day flight that he took, or however long that was, 11 hours or whatever, on the hot air balloon, for 6 hours, the defense team had an expert criminologist at the crime scene, which is why they stopped the crime cleanup also. You remember the day on the 31st when they had the team there to do the cleanup, and it was stopped abruptly because of the courts?
Yes, yeah.
And so then on the day, yesterday, there was an expert criminologist hired by the defense that spent 6 hours at the crime scene doing a reconstruction of the crime for the defense. So to me, that already points to this defense team is coming out strong with the fact that they think there are holes in this.
Well, I think one of the big. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. No, so my question is, so what do we think? What game do we think they're going to go towards?
I think one of the biggest things that is going to go in their favor, is the fact that was a party house. And they can say, because, obviously, the DNA, I'm sure, there's cross-contamination between his blood, and I'm pretty sure they're going to get that. But I think that's going to be one of the things that they're going to say in those videos of noise, and especially when there's a kid that says, oh, I don't even know who lives here, but I am here, kind of thing. I think they try to use those videos and gain, the defense is going to use it in their favor and saying, hey, he was there. And that's why you found the DNA. Maybe he left, that piece
Absolutely.
there. That doesn't mean anything. So I think that's where they're going to go. And
that's a perfect way, to be honest with you, is to party house. That's exactly what I was thinking as you were saying that, Alexza.
I think they're going to try to find those holes.
But okay, so now let's say that though, but the familial DNA was on the sheath. So did he happen to leave
his print was on it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna have, we're gonna do something with the OJ case, like the glove, the glove's there, but hey, if the glove doesn't fit, must have quit.
Yeah.
Something's gonna come up obviously with that, because they're gonna have to explain away the sheath being there with his fingerprint.
Right. And is that where it's gonna come into play, that there's is that gonna be the connection, that is the connection Kaylee and this person may have had gonna be something the defense uses? Because we don't yet know what that is. And it might be nominal to us, but it could be something, depending on what it is, it could be something that the defense zeroes in on.
Just one sec there. Carol, we had been told that it was a planned trip prior to him going to school with his dad. But whatever the truth may be is another story.
Right. We'll know when the plane ticket was booked.
Yeah, like the father said that, but does that make it true, or does that mean?
Exactly.
And if it's not true, was he covering for his son? Right.
Exactly.
Right.
But you don't. I mean, exactly. But you know what? We'll know everything about that flight and when it was booked, what and how.
So Jeff is saying, Alexza and Adam, maybe they will say Bryan longed to be a DoorDash driver and would practice delivery routes in the area at night. Right? It's not like that's honestly crazy, right?
No, I know.
Maybe he was an Uber driver, right?
Right. And like they will use, but again, it goes back to the sheath being at the home with his fingerprint on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they're going to find more DNA.
Well, and to me, it goes into the sexual aspect as well, as far as what are we going to come, what's going to come out with this guy when it comes to, I've already put out stuff about what he looked up on OnlyFans.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
I mean, even to the point where stuff about Miss Rachel, who's a children's YouTube person, not on OnlyFans, but I've suspected from the beginning he's on dating sites. He probably is weird. He's probably creeped people out. One person has come out. There's no confirmation to it. One person has come out and said they went on a date with him and he creeped her out on Tinder, I believe it was, or Bumble. But I believe that he probably had profiles on those accounts, and I believe he probably, I believe that's where one of the connections may lie. I have no proof of that, but it's my speculation.
Yeah, I think he was stalking her. I from day one, I always thought it was Kaylee. I think he was stalking her in something, either in his mind or maybe he had an interaction with her, and something in October. I guess it was October. That's when he bought the knife, or maybe he had those things, and something pushed him over the edge, because that's usually how it goes. Because I mean, he was stalking her since August. I mean, allegedly. So that's a long time. So what made him? And in October, allegedly, he buys the knife. So that means that he was already starting to fantasize or thinking that he's going to do the killings. So what made him, do the killing? And I always think it has to be something. I think hopefully we'll find. Maybe we will never find out, because I mean, she's not here, But
yeah,
I hope they will make a connection. Why?
I know that's a little bit of a thinker somewhat on that one.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, there's going to be a social media probably connection or something.
And again, I'm not saying that one of the girls, I'm not saying one of them on a date with him, but we don't know that he might not have seen one of them at a restaurant somewhere. And it's a small area, you can only swipe right or swipe left on so many people before you run out of people. So you then might see one of them on a dating site.
Like when you do that, do you, like, for example, like when you do the swiping, like left or right, do people actually see that you rejected them or not?
I don't know. I don't believe so, but I don't. Well, I think if you swipe right, they might, because if you swipe right, it's you like the person. I've never been on one.
Yeah, but, I never. That was way before my time. So.
But I've been informed by people that have been on these. And that's right. So, I think FP said about having hacker Alex in here.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, I've talked to him. We've had conversations. So, he's up to date on everything. But I think that when you swipe right, it'll alert the person that they liked you or whatever
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to actually go on a date with someone to like see them on a dating profile.
Oh yeah, no.
Adam, remember this thing earlier? See-throughs is saying the same thing. So this was said. Whether it's accurate, if we don't know.
No, the door. That's been that was said early on. That was said by the neighbor that got up at 8 o'clock that morning.
Yeah.
And said the door was wide open.
Yeah. Not sure where we are here. Carol, any info if Dylan knew Bryan in any way? I think he wiped his social media, but some of it's still there from the way back.
Was he in any other social media that I don't know yet? Was he like following them or anything?
Yeah, on Instagram.
I believe he was following them on Instagram.
All of them, or just
3? Xana, Madison, and Kaylee.
The girls, yeah.
I can't confirm that 100%. I mean, I believe that though.
Marcos Marin, please confirm if Dylan got Uber Eats at 4 a.m. that day. No. It was Xana that got Jack in the Box at 4 a.m. that day. Dylan was sleeping. And then she was woken up by, was it the dog first or the voice? No, the dog.
The first thing she heard, the first thing she heard was the sound of what she thought was Kaylee playing with the dog.
Yeah.
And then she thought she heard someone say someone's here, and then she thought she heard crying and the dog barking, right, and thud. So yeah, and Marcos, no one is implying that I don't think he was on opiates at all. I don't know if he was on anything. I was saying that I think if the killer was under the influence of anything, it would have been an upper or alcohol. But definitely probably not opiates, in my opinion, which I don't have any professional background of. So I mean, it's speculation.
Could be. I mean, depends. I mean, a lot of opiates make are uppers, and they make it depends. Some people go to sleep, some people makes them hyper. So could be. I mean, we don't know. Could be some type of drug
or nothing. Control might have been his only drug.
Yeah. And FP, I don't talk about this myself, but Alex just.
I answered it already.
Pardon?
I answered it already.
Oh, what did you say? I didn't even hear you.
Well, I just said that I've spoken to him behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah. Would Kaylee go out with Bryan? Jack D's no. Yeah, right. When you look at Jack, I mean, he totally, you can tell is a sweetheart, right? And that's what I was saying about even my ex-husband. He was a 5, and Jack he's no George Clooney. Actually, I don't even think George Clooney's good looking, to be honest with you.
Poor Jack.
But Jack D, you can just tell that he looks like a 10. Just by his personality and his looks, which make him so much more of value, because he just is, I'm sure, one of those guys. And
let's be honest, at this point, that any girl in the world is going to be like, oh, the dog, what's happened to him,
right?
Jack. I mean, Jack. I'm general. Jack D is. I'm traumatized. I'm sure. I feel horrible for the guy, but. When he's ready, he's going to have no problem finding people to date him.
And that's usually how it goes. Usually pretty girls can date uglier guys, but you never see a hot guy with an uglier girl. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I know. Now, I'm not going to lie, and this is just my own speculation. Sorry, Kaylee. If I had to pick why that relationship broke up, I'm going to say it wasn't because of Jack. That's my...
They said it was because of her. Well, they said it was amicable. They said, but she was moving. She was moving. She was moving to Texas.
How long were they dating?
5 years.
5 years.
Since high school.
Yeah.
And they knew each other since like middle school.
And it could have just been like they had their own goals, and you know, like I said, you know,
We've
I
all
mean,
been.
yeah. So, either way, you know, so if it was more than that, I'm gonna say, you know, Jack's the
Who dis?
the good boy. What'd she say? What's she saying?
Nothing. She's being unsavory.
This is always a smart ass. I think he's just a psycho. Oh,
No. Past that.
Yeah. No. Well, Brian. Okay. Yes. Brian Enton is a hottie. Sorry, Carol. You did ask a question above, and I was going to answer it.
It was this comment. This is the one I was talking about. Who just said?
It's all about the D. Nerds are usually packing. Oh, okay. Who dis? Affidavit Kernoodle, who received a DoorDash ordered. Oh, you're typing. Ordered at the residence at approximately 4 a.m.
And I will say the nearest Jack in the Box is 18 minutes away.
Is it 18 minutes away?
Yeah, I had that from earlier on when I got the picture of that earlier.
What is it, in Pullman or something?
Yeah, there's not, because the Jack in the Box that was in Moscow, I think, is permanently closed. So that DoorDash delivery, and I said, and I had that picture like a month ago, so I looked it up back then, and I had the thing. It was 18 minutes away, I believe, is the nearest one.
So he was in the house from what time to what time? He was in the house from
after 4:04, and then apparently till 4:20.
So help me understand this.
And she was on TikTok at 4:12.
12, yeah. So he was probably killing Kaylee and
while she was on TikTok.
But that's what I'm saying. This seems so bad to me that at 4:04 he hadn't even parked yet. You know, so he still needed to. It's almost like he drove there and then go in with the knife. You know, it's almost. I just feel
He
like
went
it's
in
almost
with purpose.
Like the purpose. And
I think as soon as he saw her leave that kitchen from that back window and turn that light off, he went in, and he went upstairs. He killed them, and then he went to that bedroom and killed them.
And that's what I think.
A lot of people went out.
A lot of people think, and they always so surprised that, you know, killing somebody, it doesn't take that long. And I hate to say that, but a lot of people have the misconception that it takes like 30, 40 minutes to kill a person. Not at all. It's literally like 3 minutes. And if you want to bleed them out, depending on blood weight and everything, 6 minutes at most. Right. But with the gashing and with everything it's a lot quicker too.
And you would know this more than I, Alexza, but you know, a killer that kills 4 people in a short amount of time, there's got to be so much rage involved in that.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas, even though I still firmly believe this was probably sexually motivated, and that it had to do with something in his fantasy, he either was able to fulfill that fantasy in a very fast manner, or the rage took over the fantasy. Because a lot of times when it's, you know, one person, like with a fixation, like say you're obsessed with Kaylee, you think that you would take your time on that individual because that's where your focus had been, right? And but that also would make me think you would isolate that person so that you could fulfill your fantasy in doing what you fantasized about.
Yeah, I honestly, that's the only part that I disagree with you. I think I don't see it as sexual, or at least not prime sexual. I think this was revenge. I think to me this screams 100% revenge.
Was it revenge though, Alexza, based on the fact that perhaps she rejected him?
Rejection, yeah.
That still not be sexual though? Because you might be looking at it from a clinical standpoint.
Because I don't think he will be, you know, no, usually the sexual is like the fantasy, like they want to have, you know, yes and no, but it could be like, how can I explain? It's like almost like second nature, but the motive wasn't sexual. Like he didn't go there to kill her and like rape her. I'm sorry, I don't answer that way.
Okay, say that I meet you. Say, you know, I like, you know, I feel like I'm this, I feel like I'm this, controlling, like I should have the power, and you don't give me that, either by rejecting me or by not acknowledging me, which then can also feel like rejection. I mean, can that still not be sexual and revenge then? If I then decide I am going to make you pay for that?
No, not necessarily, because the main motive would, I mean, depending on the, usually you go by the main motive. The main motive, what was it that drove him to that fantasy of killing? What was it that he said, I'm going to kill her?
Okay.
Was it he got angry and because he got rejected? Either in his mind he felt that he rejected her, that she rejected him, or did it actually happen? Did she actually say, hey, stop following me or something?
Isn't that kind of what I just said? Isn't that kind of just what I asked though?
Yes, but you're saying if it's like a sexual, if it would be like primarily sexual.
Well, I don't know. I think it's maybe that you're clinical. Maybe because you have the clinical background of the profession of it, and maybe so. I'm like, I don't know, Sunny. maybe, dude, or you understand what I'm saying, Sunny?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely do.
Because I think I don't know if I'm just asking it wrong or what, but
no, maybe I'm misunderstanding.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, that if it does become about the fact that it was because of a rejection thing, because, like I said, like she hurt his poor, small d or something like that. Again, it hurt his, his innards because he's faced rejection from, I don't know, because of his awkwardness, who knows. And then it became a revenge based on that. I would still consider it to be like really like a sexual revenge kind of combo.
Because it's rage. That's the thing, is like like the main motive, the thing that
drives what you're saying is
rage. Yeah, it's not sexual.
Secondary would be the other reason.
And I guess in my mind, I can't disassociate. I'm like, I just combine the two, and I'm like, I'm like, they go to, but you're the one that would have the professional background.
And it could be that maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he did this. No. I'm just saying, I'm just playing devil's advocate, because a lot of people thought that it was a sexual crime.
Well,
yeah. So my question is always like, how I'm like, why can't it just be both?
Don't get jealous.
Well, it's always you have a primary reason, and then you have a secondary reason.
So let's go with what the kind of the flow still here is. So Jeff says, when Bryan went by the area 3 times, could he have just been picking a house? Well, hold on. He had been there 12 times though, right, Jeff? So, but still, even if he'd been in that area 12 times, was it just because he chose? He knew that there was a bunch of, that's where the sorority girl's house was. Was it a Ted Bundy thing by chance? And he did want to, like, that still is very possible. That he,
I don't think he went there with the intention of killing everyone. I think he went there with the thing of killing just his target. And like I said, everybody else was partial.
I mean, it does seem that way, to be honest. It comes across, whether it's true or not, it does come across that way. Husband brought me home with Sunday. So you guys go ahead and talk.
So you have lip gloss and a Sunday? I'm going to boot her from the stream.
I know. Yummy. Sunday from where?
So Jeff said Elliot Rogers syndrome. And for anyone that doesn't know who Elliot, do you know who Elliot Rogers is? Elliot Rogers is?
No, what is it?
Is Elliot, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, Elliot Rodger, I believe, is the most famous incel, correct? Kind of is what is kind of what gave incels the term. And again, correct me if I'm wrong. Bryan and Deb, his name, the fake name that we think was Papa with 2 P's, which Papa with 2 P's actually does it means father in German or Latin, and Roger, if you look it up in it translates to, oh my goodness, I have it all written down somewhere. There's a very odd translation to it. It's like the father of daggers, or the father of something. I'll have to look it up. But there's a very interesting translation when you look up the definition of Papa Roger, spelled with a D-G-E-R.
It's creepy.
But yeah, Elliot Rogers is the father of incels. I have a look at it right now.
Jeff said Elliot thought he was a God's gift to all women. He couldn't understand why girls wouldn't have sex with him.
Here, Sonny, do you have his picture?
No.
Here, I'll send it to you right now.
Okay.
Oh, is that the one like in military, like a profile?
He killed he's like a hero because his target was beautiful sorority girls from Alpha Pi.
Oh right, I remember this picture from the other day.
Yes. And besides this girl that that possible went on a date with him, no girlfriends have come out, nothing, right?
No, I mean, I was told when I was on a live with CD last week, I was told by a high school classmate that after he lost the weight, that he gained a lot of confidence and that he did have a girlfriend at the end of high school.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's Elliot Rodger.
I think he lost the weight physically, but I think in his mind and like judging, you know, especially when you see his signature. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you know, you can't tell that by that or whatever. But even if you don't go by that, you can tell that he has almost like this person that he sees in the mirror. I don't think is the person that he thinks he is. I think he's not as confident as he might come out. I think he plays more being confident, but I don't think he feels confident.
Oh, and just a reminder, just because I was taking a look while these two were talking, if you guys haven't, give this live a like and a share. Could you possibly do that for us? I see that there's 67 likes and there's 92 in here. So if you guys could do that for the channel, that would be amazing. Thank you. Really need to build the algorithm up. Elliot said, or sorry, Jeff said Elliot was basically like a look at me, I'm beautiful. Doesn't make sense why no girl wants me. Well, obviously he gave off a weird aura. I'm going back to my Sunday.
Oh, what are you doing, Sunday? Jeremy, I just turned into a frog. Are you doing something?
I know, right? Jeff says, I gotta get this one. I love this show so much. I clicked the like button twice. You're welcome.
I think if you hit the like button twice, it goes away.
It goes off. Yeah, good fight. You should have said 3 times. Good fight, Jeff. Good fight.
No, if you could hit it once, log into another account and hit it again, then it's fine.
Then we're talking twice. Yeah. Sorry, Marcos. I think it's very odd.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, and I know Alexza and I disagree with the comment I put on the chat just now. So,
which one?
About his idols.
Where?
Well, you know, because I had said that I said I think he wanted to perfect his idol's crimes, and he thinks he was smart enough to get away with where they made mistakes, and I think he was ended up being horribly wrong.
No, but I mean, I do believe that. I do believe that. Okay. I always told you, I do believe, before we knew who he was, I always believed that he was like a copycat wannabe. I think he wanted to, and before we even found out that he was a criminologist, it sounded to me like he wanted to copycat, you know, and he wants attention. He wanted attention. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that he feels like that, but he wanted attention. He wanted to be probably studied with one of the great killers, you know?
Absolutely. And you know what? He'll be studied. I don't know if it'll be with one of the great killers, but he will be studied. I mean, the whole country, maybe, you know, arguably the world has spent the last, 2 months essentially talking about something he did. Mm-hmm. So, sadly, if this was his goal, he achieved it in that manner.
He did. And
that's the sad thing.
Yes, it is. Because, from years from now, and even now, sometimes we get so caught in talking about the killer that we forget the victims. And in many years, the victims are not going to be important. It's going to be the killer, because we're going to study the killer. We're not going to study the victims. And that is such a sad part of the story.
Absolutely.
That we forget about those victims, like Ted Bundy, those 40 women, whatever, you don't know their names, a few, but.
Right. I wish I had, I really, I know that they're under a gag order now, but I really wish that I had handy the post that Becky Patty had made the day of Richard Allen's hearing in Delphi, because it spoke to this perfectly, in my opinion, as far as I'm told this, I follow this, but then who's the advocate for Libby? Who's the advocate for Abby? Because we can't say things, we can't do this, and we can't do that. But then everyone can focus on this, and this, but we can't have a voice for our girls. Mm-hmm. And that always stands out. That will always stand out to me when it comes to these kinds of things, because we can focus so much on the suspect when it comes to these cases, but then the victims can so often get either lost in it, or their voice gets muffled because of what their families have to kind of abide by litigiously. That it does require people to actively hold them in your memory and make sure they're not forgotten.
Yeah, it is very true, and it's such a sad of the story, because eventually he got what he wanted, because I'm sure he's going to go down in the books for whether he was smart or disorganized, but he's going to be studied, and people are going to study him, and that's exactly what he wanted. And
we saw his face today. He didn't look at I don't know if anyone else saw this, but I know I was watching something with Brian Inton that was he was in the courtroom today, and he talked about how he was very unemotional, that he was very polite, very mannered looking, but that the families were in the aisle in front of Brian Inton. Brian Inton was saying the families were in the aisle in front of him, and he said that Bryan Kohberger never looked at the families. He never looked back at the gallery or the audience, and that as they read the names, he seemed unemotional until they got, they said, certainly when he said Kaylee's name. I believe that's when we're seeing the face that he's making there, and that Bryan Inton said, Kaylee's mother at that point broke down because when she heard her daughter's name. Yeah. And I'm like, and that's so sad, because I'm like, we've talked about him in court all day today, but no one's mentioned that those families were all in court today.
Wow. I didn't know that they were on court. That's sad.
I mean, I don't know if they all were, but the families were represented in court today.
Yeah. Can I just ask this one, because Marco says asking, because I don't know the answer, of course. Maybe Jeff does, or you guys. One question: am I right in thinking that most incels give a statement before emming people?
Yeah, a lot of them do. Like Diamond Eyes was right. Like a manifesto. A lot of the mass, not the serial killers though, the mass murders and the spree and the mass the spree. Yeah. They do tend to, especially the school shootings. They usually have, and they leave something, because usually, most of the times, they either commit suicide or suicide by cop. So they want to leave behind what they call their legacy. So yeah.
But I had my thing on mute there when I coughed. Sorry. He looks smug to me. Look at that face. That one right there, I want to punch in his nose.
It's a very American Psycho. If anyone's ever seen Christian Bale in American Psycho, this face right there, to me, emulates everything about that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course that was interesting as well. Who dis?
He even looks like him a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
There's one scene in particular. I was like, oh my.
Yeah, you guys think he has a journal somewhere?
Yeah, I do. I think it was probably Facebook or Reddit or
probably. I would say.
4chan.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm sure in that apartment they're gonna find a plethora of stuff.
I mean, imagine what they found on that computer, those computers that they took out.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, and that's what I wanted to ask you. You know that picture that there's a picture, I think it's of a blonde girl. I don't know if it's really Kylie. I think you had it on your. Do you guys think it was him, the one that posted it, or do you think it's just maybe a wannabe kind
Are
of
you talking
thing?
about the 4chan picture?
Yeah.
The one I put in my video of when I asked if he filmed the murders.
I think
So I don't know. I mean, if you look at the time, I mean, if not, it was someone that did an incredibly distasteful, horrible, um, trolling prank because the timestamp and date.
I know.
I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna say, I don't know.
Oh,
the timestamp. It was sus, like my kids say.
Well,
Like,
now that the affidavit has come out, I mean, that timestamp would make more sense depending on what it is, because I can't remember now.
I think no, this one says 3:10 a.m. So
yes, so we know that wouldn't be right unless it was 4:10, depending on because he lived in Pullman, Washington. Pullman is in Pacific time, but Moscow. Correct me if I'm wrong. Moscow's in Pacific time, right?
Yes, it's in the same time zone as I am.
But Boise is in Mountain.
Mountain, yeah.
And that's 1 hour difference, right?
Yes, so I mean, the timing on the camera thing would be completely wrong then. So that would make me think it's fake.
Just quickly, was Brian's family? I don't know.
Brian's family was not in court today.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
They did not come. I mean, I don't know if they're in Idaho, but they were not in court today.
Yeah.
They were just in Pennsylvania, I believe.
Yes. Oh, Tony, it's not. Wait, yeah, no, yeah. I agree. I don't think it's him. I posed the question, but only because I was curious.
That he was framed? I don't think so.
Oh no! I think
no. I'm just reading the Marcus Maron. Do you think it's possible that he was framed? No.
Absolutely 0%. I feel.
I mean, there are rumors going around that there's an accomplice. I don't believe it, but there are rumors. But there are rumors going around about it.
Yeah, I don't think there was
Right.
an accomplice myself.
Yeah, he seems like a
type of, especially with somebody that has a grandiose personality, they usually don't work very well. But
yeah.
Hey.
And he seems like a lone wolf. First of all, the control aspect. I don't think he would. I don't think he'd allow someone else to have that power over him. And two, I don't think that he's the kind of social person that would let someone know this part of him.
No, I don't think so. I always said I thought he, and I always said it, and I told you that he would stand out. I think I always said, when they find him, when they find the killer, he is going to be the type of person that everybody says he was weird. He will stand up, and the physical thing.
Yeah.
Just quickly.
Sure. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Charlie, really quick. Yeah. We know his phone was off, which, like I said, he might have. It's almost just as incriminating as having it on. But you can also use. You could also use a GoPro. Other things. I mean, there are still other ways to take video and pictures.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But again, I'm not saying that he did. I'm just. It was a question posed by online. And so I looked into it a little bit, but I don't think so.
Carol, is your reasoning of wondering, just to ask you, is your reason of wondering if you're interested, if you knew Dylan, if Dylan knew him because of the fact that it took from, 4:20 to the next day before the cops were called? Is that kind of
right.
Why you're saying, I'm just curious because there are some people that are on that train. I'm personally not, but is that why you're kind of wondering about that? Just curious. And
Sorry.
Just quickly, I was going to say, on the screen is a K-bar. This is anyone that sees Callie in the chat. She's sick today. But so Callie sent me this picture. This is her K-bar. So I'm just showing it to you. Basically, it's like a real one where you're not looking at a store-bought and like that it is. Mm-hmm. So that's show the sheath, and like I said, this is K-bar. And so basically right here, which is similar, of course, to this is the USMC one, which is said that this was the knife right? So similar, of course, idea. So this is what you can basically picture is what he had used. But it was obviously, this is the sheet that was left behind, is something that looked like this, probably same color, I'm sure. But and so I think it was it on here that they found the DNA? Was it here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The button, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I really don't rather show these people than his face, to be honest with you. But anyway, sorry, just wanted to say that just because I didn't want anyone thinking, oh, like, where's that knife from? But that Callie had sent it to me. It was out of her. It's her knife. So
yeah, my stepdad has one too, and I remember when it was circling around, I called him and and I was like asking him questions about it. And
so, what do we think though about the guy? And his name was like Chris JJ or something like that online.
Well, the sheath doesn't match the knife. That's the only thing. The knife that he was sold does not match the sheath. Nor if you actually look at the knife close up, the knife that he posted a picture of is not a fixed blade knife. It's a foldable knife. And so I'm not saying he may believe that he sold that knife to Bryan,
right?
But I'm not saying maybe he did, but
maybe he did.
But the knife that he put a picture out of does not match the sheath that was found, and it also is not a fixed blade knife.
Yeah, that's right, Admiral.
I mean that knife that he put a picture out of, it comes in a fixed blade, but the picture he put out was not a fixed blade knife.
Right, gotcha.
I looked into it pretty deep.
How deep, Adam?
Pretty deep.
Pretty deep. You hear that?
Not like reached out to him or anything, dude.
Yeah. Pretty deep with the big D. Pretty deep. Anne-Marie, yes, he's this slick narcissistic snake. Sorry, after all these years, it still burns my hide that SOB got off and didn't see the evidence. I'm not sure which case they're talking about there. Still got off, and a lot of nitwit didn't see the evidence. Yeah, I'm not really sure what case they're talking about there.
Who does her being?
She being naughty? Just gone. Yeah, they do. Alexza, I remember when they caught Leonard Lake and Charles Ning. They had a bunch of Polaroid Instamatic photos. Today's serials are going to start going old. Yeah, right. Going old school.
I know.
I have a Polaroid.
I was just telling her for I don't have it here right now, but for my kids for Christmas, I got my kids Polaroid cameras.
Did you? Yeah.
I even have one too. I have like a Hello Kitty one.
Oh, I got the big old school one. Like it was like $200.
The instant ones.
The film is so expensive.
I know, because it's ancient now.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, now they're nicer. Now they're like this big, and like the paper is like.
I got the big one. I got like the big old school looking one that it's still like the shape, and you press the top of the button.
Like a viewfinder almost.
Okay, I wasn't even on screen. I'm like over here doing this thing.
Okay, yeah.
I got my grandma used to have. Actually, Dimitri's grandma. I used to have one of those, and she used to go like, wait. I remember all the time. Oh my god.
Those Polaroids though. I remember when we had one in cosmetics, and I would just it was just to me, even though they were old school, but there was nothing that impressed me more back then was that you could just take a picture and watch it come out right away. Just wave it for a few seconds.
I miss that. I asked. That's what I asked for Christmas, but nobody listened to me because I wanted a printer for my pictures. Yeah, I mean, they got me good stuff. I can't complain. But I said, please get me that printer so I can print my pictures. But I got I got good stuff. But maybe for I didn't open my birthday gift, so maybe I got it for my birthday.
Maybe if you ask hard enough.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't opened the gift, so I'll check tomorrow.
Okay. Let's see here. 74 likes. Can we try to get it to 100? Anybody
come
haven't
on,
hit that
people.
like button yet?
I had to get my Polaroid.
Maybe I should give it a like.
See?
Oh,
That
yeah.
is
That's what
nice.
you're talking about. That's what I'm
That
talking
is
about.
nice. Hold on. Let me
Yep.
see.
Yeah. Good old Polaroid.
And I've got the Polaroid bag to go with it.
That is nice. Hold on. I'll show you mine. Hold on.
Yeah.
And so if I really wanted, I could be cool and strap it over myself and be like, just carrying my Polaroid.
Yeah. Tourist.
I know, right?
Right. That's funny. 1 second here. Okay. 76 likes. Let's see if we can get it up a little higher. There's 92 people watching and 76 likes. Come on, people. Come on. You can do it. Come on. It takes a lot of work and that, and this is the third live today. I'm just using guilt now on there, but trying to get at least 100 likes if we can. Mama, don't take my Polaroid away. Huh? So, anyways, is there, because we're going to end this live soon. This is, like I said, the third live today.
I know, right?
On there. Yeah, and, Alexza, where did she go? Was she going to show you?
She'll be right back. She's going to get her Polaroid.
Yeah.
And Tony, that's an interesting. I'm not saying that the prosecutor will change, but I would not be surprised if we don't see. Excuse me, that we don't see this follow in the same footsteps as Delphi as far as them requesting a change of venue. Only because it is such a small area. I mean, I don't know where in Idaho they would move it to, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't try.
Mm-hmm. You got, or Adam, who just had put this into our chat earlier, and I'm going to read
it was very good.
Yeah, and I want to see what your guys' thoughts are on this, but I'm only going to read it if you hit a like, if you haven't, and if not, I'll still read it anyway, I suppose, on there. Okay.
Sorry.
So
thank you for reminding me.
What do you got? What do you got there, Alexza?
I have this.
What? Well, you know what, Alexza?
And they're like so cute. I mean,
I got this.
They're like so cute. I haven't used it in a while. Maybe I should have it down.
I just can't imagine you walking somewhere with that.
Don't make me get my Dharma wand out.
I know, right? Like, look at that. Can you imagine?
I do. I actually do. I even have my old place. I don't care. My kids are like, "Are you really gonna bring that?" Oh my god! I found
you should make them carry it, Alexza.
I know they have their own. See, I have my little pictures.
Oh yeah, your little pictures.
That's from like my birthday, like 2 years ago. Like no more.
So
like 4 years ago.
Can you buy trimming to those Polaroids? Do they have little?
This one actually comes. Like I'll show you. Oh no, I can't show you because I don't have. Yeah, it actually does come with.
Mine comes with a legitimate, like the old, like it's the exact same film.
Yeah,
like,
you can buy it, but like I like the Hello Kitty.
Yeah.
Like I have my Sweet Melody one. Like
yeah, exactly.
But you can get like the original, like the OG ones. Like he had,
it's only like $20 for 10 pictures.
I know it's like a little expensive.
That's so cute. Okay, so
this one's they're like $12.
Hey, yeah,
this one's I think they're like 12. I don't know, or maybe more. I don't know. I haven't bought one.
$12 for like 12 of them or something.
For 10, actually, it's more. Probably it's more because I bought these probably years ago. Because I haven't used it in a while.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just gonna read this, you guys, because I forgot about it.
Yeah, we have 87 likes. 13 more.
87. We're gonna get to 100, guys. People. Get to 100. Yeah, and then even if I'm in the middle of talking, we're ending the live right at 100. Yeah. Okay, so this is something that who just put into the our Facebook group, or our private chat. I just say on Messenger, and it says, and you guys again give us your thoughts. It says, based on the affidavit, this is what makes the most sense to me. Again, this is by, I guess, Elizabeth Parviz. It says, BK likely entered the house when everyone was quietly in their rooms. He entered around 4:05 to 4:07 after his car was seen at 4:04 parked, trying to park. He thought everyone, I like the word trying to park. He thought everyone was sleeping, went to Kaylee and Maddie's room, killed Maddie first, took the sheath off, and left it there. Spent time with Kaylee because she was his target. This explains why Dylan hears the dog noises first, because BK was up there. But then at 4:12, Zaina, who actually is awake, is scrolling through TikTok, gets up to get her order at delivered at 4. Bryan does not see the delivery driver or anyone in the vicinity because he is watching the back of the house where Kaylee is, not the front. Zaina brings the food here. Let's make sure you guys can see this. Hold on one second. I have to do this to move it over. Okay. Zaina brings the food into the kitchen. BK hears her and knows someone's awake and goes to check what's happening. Zaina sees him, likely with the blood and holding the knife, enough to be freaked out, and says there's someone here as she runs from the kitchen to her room. BK runs and follows after her and kills her and Ethan. Either Ethan heard the initial scuffle and said to Zaina, I'm coming to help you, or BK gets to Zaina's room and kills Ethan first after incapacitating Zaina, who is laying there crying, and BK might have said, I'm coming to help you, in a creepy way. Okay. And then I think this is it. It goes, okay. And then it says the stabbings of X and E, Zaina and Ethan, are complete around 4:17, which is why the thud noise and voices, whimpers are picked up on the camera next door. It was either them trying to scream for help or the sound of the whimpers as they were running, being stabbed, or after when they collapsed before dying. Dylan cracks open the door and sees BK leave, but BK doesn't see Dylan, and BK books it out of there in time to be in the car by 4:20. Dylan was high and thought she was hallucinating, so she shuts her door, nervous, and waits or falls asleep, but actually she remembered everything the next day. Bethany is in a completely separate area of the house and hears nothing, wakes up the next day confused, and calls people. This theory also explains BK leaving the sheath. He expected to have more time with Kaylee, but was interrupted by Zaina and didn't get to go back. This is all that I can make sense of with the timing. You don't stalk someone for months only to spend a few minutes killing them. You don't shut your phone to avoid detection only to leave a sheath. Okay.
That's not true, but
no. So, okay. So Alexza, what's your thoughts on that?
No, I have to say very good, very possible. I just don't think that the killing, I don't think it was Maddie first. I think it was Kaylee first. And again, we go back to usually when we study, this type of people, the target is usually the first person that they kill.
And I can add to that. It could be as simple as, so I'm assuming if the sheath was found on the right side of Maddie, we know that the bed was up against the wall. And so when you enter that room, the killer, so if you're standing in the doorway looking at the bed is going to be on the left-hand side wall. And so Maddie presumably would have been on the right-hand side of the bed. So even if he killed Kaylee first, he might have dropped the sheet by Maddie, even though he might have gone over to kill Kaylee first. So I'm not sure which one he killed first, but they were in a very small bed together. So it had to have happened pretty close to each other in time.
I mean, I'm sure that, I mean, they're going to find out. I mean, I'm sure, with, and that's where forensics is going to go in, depending the blood patterns and the transfer and everything. They're probably going to know who got killed first.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I'm correct in what I was told about Kaylee's body possibly being partially on top of Maddie, she may have woken, if he had attacked Maddie first, Kaylee may have woken up, and that's what may have led to the brutality of her injuries, and how she would have ended up on top partially of Maddie.
Yeah. Do you think that the sheath came off like Jeff thinks? And it's very plausible that during the course of doing it, that how things come off, you don't realize it. Yeah. Kind of like Mr. Bullet Man there in Delphi.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake. I think it was a sloppy mistake that he probably dropped it and he didn't realize. But I told you, if you remember, if you go back to that live that I gave you, I said to you, he probably made a stupid mistake, and that's how they're going to get him. And that's how it is. Usually they make those stupid mistakes, and that's how they catch them.
Yeah. FP, there was a bed in Kaylee's room. We've seen that in the photos after the fact. Yeah. And the dog was found there.
So now my question is, how did he know? I mean, did Kaylee made it an announcement or social media? You know how those kids are nowadays, that she was there that night. Like, how did he know that she was going to be that night?
Right. That's a question that I have too.
Why not the night before? I mean, what made him that night? How did he knew? He had to know.
Well, I'm assuming we'll find that out by Snapchat or Instagram.
And that's basically based on the fact that if it was Kaylee that was the target, he following her social media and knew?
Right. I mean, it just as easily could have been Maddie.
It could have. It could have. It would. I think it will probably.
I've always thought it was Kaylee, but it could have just as easily been Maddie.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. We could all be wrong about the whole Kaylee thing, because now let me bring up this then, because the dad at first had said about that there was a connection that they weren't willing to talk about, in a sense. And so, but then he did kind of backtrack on that. So I don't know if he was trying to cover,
maybe the police said
back up what he said, because he shouldn't have probably said it, or because the second thing he said, like later in another time, was when the reporter asked if he, about the connection, if there was a connection, that whatever, and then he basically said that no, like no, he didn't say no, but he basically said that anyone that would have come across Kaylee would have basically fallen in love with her.
Oh, but I think I saw that comment. I think he meant it like he really didn't know her that well, because anybody that would have known her well, would never hurt her.
And it could have been taken exactly that way.
But I think that was just to say, I don't think it was talking about him.
Yeah, because I mean, at first he said the statement that they came out with was that at first no one in the family thought there was any connection, but upon further looking into it, they realized they started to see a connection between Kaylee and this guy that they didn't want to talk about. But you know what? I mean, again, Maddie and Kaylee were so close. The connection could have been, something to do with Maddie that just involved Kaylee. I mean, we just don't know. Yeah. So I mean, all we know is that Steve Gonzalez said that the family realized that there is a connection between Kaylee and this guy.
To be honest with you, if I had to pick between the two, after listening to the way that Maddie talked when she turned around and I said F you, which she did because they played it, and she said F you to the guy, I can see her. Let me say, I would deem Kaylee as being a little bit more sweeter in how she talks than maybe Maddie. So maybe Maddie did. Maybe he tried, you know, whatever with Maddie. Maddie was like, bug off or whatever. Because Maddie does seem to have, if just going by absolute speculation, right, of just watching or just thinking about it, how women kind of go, is that, you know, she could be, I think, a little bit more aggressive.
She had a boyfriend.
Pardon?
And she had a boyfriend, Jake.
Jake.
No, not that that stops. I mean,
I know it doesn't matter, but or you know, he could have even made it. He could have even tried something with Maddie. She might have turned him down, and he may have tried. He may have gone to Kaylee, either in an attempt to get to Maddie, or to then turn his attention to Kaylee. You know, we just don't know. It's it's all speculation.
Yeah, I think just the fact that the father said that. Also, the father said that, you know, the wounds were different. And usually the you know probably would be different because, you know, that was the target. So, you know,
right, and you would different. Right. I mean, if based on your experience in that, again, if someone's saying that the wounds were different, would probably more lead to the fact that the wounds were different because that was the target. You know, so that, right. I mean, chances are if the wounds are different, it is for a reason, of course.
Right. Alexa, let me ask you a question as far as, if it was rape, let's say I'm just hypothetically, if let's say the obsession or the fixation or the revenge was on Maddie, but Kaylee woke up and interrupted the rage he wanted to take out on Maddie, and he had to abruptly kill Maddie first, and then could that explain the brutality that Kaylee experienced because she foiled his
fantasy? Could be. Yeah, that could be.
I mean, it's just speculative. It's speculative.
No, and it's a good question. No, it could be. It could be that, you know, that it also that he was mad that whose room was it?
It was Maddie's room.
Could be that maybe he was mad that Kaylee was in Maddie's room, and the fantasy was that he was expecting her to be alone, and then there she is, and then could have been. That is very possible. But I mean, I don't know. From my experience, I mean, from the way I saw the case and the way I always thought it was Kaylee. But I mean, it could be. Right. I mean, it could be. I think possibilities wise, if you look at it, could be more pointing at Maddie, maybe. But I always thought it was Kaylee.
One day we'll see that. One day we'll see the bigger picture of that.
Yeah, I am dying to know, you know, the connection, like what.
Because you know, there are also rumors that it was Maddie and Xana that were the actual targets, and that, you know, Kaylee and Ethan were the collateral damage.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think Xana.
Again, but I'm just, you know, I'm saying
of course.
That rumor's out there.
Alexza, that you used a bad term. Alexza said, "I'm dying to know."
Yeah.
Oh.
I know there's those expressions,
bad, right?
I know. I said the M word a few times.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, one day we will actually know. So unless somehow something gets leaked.
And I have a feeling that this case, believe it or not, and this, I should be like another prediction. No, I think this case is going to go pretty fast. I think it's not going to be like appeal and motion after motion. I think this case is going to be tried pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I think so.
Because he's facing the death penalty.
I mean, do we know? Do we know? Is that what is? Have they made it a capital case yet, or no?
I don't think so. Not that I know.
Right now, he's just charged with 4 counts of murder. They haven't actually said it's
burglary.
Yeah.
Don't forget the burglary charge.
No, yes.
Yeah.
No, not to kill the 2 survivors. No, because no. I don't think the house was targeted. I think Kaylee was targeted. That's why he killed. I mean, he had to kill the people that got in his way, and I think that's why that explains why the dog was spared and why the other 2 roommates.
And he was vegan. Let's be honest, he was vegan. So you can. It's not. I know it sounds crazy, but it's not implausible to think that vegan would place the importance of an animal's life above of a human's.
Mm-hmm.
It's not outside of the realm of possibility, even if it doesn't sound normal to people.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I agree with you, but I think he, those type of, and I mean, again, I don't know how much he studied and how much, how intelligent he was, but I think he killed whoever he thought it was a threat. And I think the dog wasn't a threat, and the other two roommates were not a threat to him. I think Zena and Ethan probably got in his way. Maybe, they saw him or they were screaming. I don't know.
Zena being up alone.
The thing was, though, he was at that place 12 times prior. 12 times.
He knew that house.
So yes. He probably did the virtual tour of it and everything himself. So I mean, was Zena and that was, so let's just say again that we go back to the two girls. Was it one of them specifically he went up there to, take out, or both perhaps? I mean, I have it in my head that Zena and Ethan, were just kind of like what I feel that Libby was, like kind of like that collateral damage that you got to take care of. Something happened there where he was forced to take care of one, which meant to take care of both of them then. And so I kind of feel too that his purpose to go there was up to the third floor, but that purpose changed as things changed in his plan. And again, he might not have seen Dylan, because he could have just been like I said, on his mode out and it didn't even faze him, because of where that door is facing. So if he was kind of going on a mission to leave, even though you think by your peripheral vision that you still would have saw, but maybe not. Again, you have to be in that person's mind and be there yourself and have gone through it to really fully know the answer. So they probably could have got spared because they just, weren't known. But he must have known though that there was 5 females in that house at least by the 12 times that he was there previously. I'm sure he did his homework no
telling what the connection was. So he may have been in that house before. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He may have been at the Halloween party for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we also know Kaylee was into true crime. Maybe that could be a connection.
I didn't know that she was.
Kaylee's sister. Kaylee's sister was very into true crime. Is into true crime.
Oh, wow.
And the family has stated that she was very into true crime, which is one reason they talked about that when asked about the stalker thing, because they were like, no, Kaylee would have. She knew how to handle the things because she was very into cases like that.
But correct me if wrong. I think one of the, I don't know, a guy from like a bagel place or somewhere where the convenience store where the girls used to go.
Been followed.
He came out and said that he knew that Kaylee had a stalker, that she had said to him that he had. That she was a stalker.
The police had investigated one instance where she felt like she had been followed into a grocery store. And then the guy at the vape store came out and said that they said she had a stalker.
Right.
And he said Maddie is the one that actually said that Maddie is the one that said one of our friends has a stalker, but he kind of pointed at Kaylee.
Yeah. Oh, so it wasn't Kaylee. Okay, sorry.
Right.
So Maddie's the one that said it.
And for all we know, in that 12 times that he was stalking, followed them, right? Followed them, whatever. Maybe got out of the vehicle, parked it, started following behind them, like that kind of thing, walking behind them, whatever. Because, obviously if I forgot about that guy in the vape store, and that, because that's exactly what they said. Basically, we take care of each other. We'll take care. And it was all about Kaylee having the stalker. So, I'm still gonna believe it's Kaylee too. Actually, when I start about that.
I mean, we'll see. I don't think it would change too much. I mean, we know that one of the girls was targeted. I believe, unless they come out and say that it was Ethan, then I will be like, okay.
And Dylan, and yes, and then if the timestamps are correct, Dylan did upload 2 pictures to I believe it was Instagram. There was a Snapchat between Dylan and her boyfriend at 3-something a.m. But then I know there was some posts that Dylan had made late at night that night. I can't remember the timestamps exactly though. As far as she uploaded those pictures.
Is Deb talking about after the murders happened?
No, she's talking about the night of. But I believe they were like 3-something a.m. I believe they were before the murders.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and look to see when the videos or pictures were uploaded.
Yeah.
But I believe they were at 3-something a.m. and not 4.
Okay. You feel, yeah. Well, I mean, she said she was sleeping at 4. I can't see her uploading. If she, like, there's no way she was uploading to me after that.
Deb, remind me of the timestamps because I know exactly what you're talking about, but I think those timestamps are all in the 3 a.m. hour.
Yeah, Nancy, correct? Video.
Yeah, she's
probably on TV tomorrow. Yeah, yeah, we got to get going here, though, guys. So we'll just wait for that. If Deb does know the timestamps. Wow, Adam is on it right off the top of his head. I can't do that.
I might not remember. I might not be able to remember what I had for lunch today, but I can remember.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. So we'll just wait another second. If not, again, if you guys could go ahead, Alexza.
I was gonna say something. Like reading. I have read affidavits before, and obviously I have. I work in this for many years, but I think and this is when you remember that you're human. Because I was reading the affidavit today, and when Dylan was describing that she could hear Saina, I think it was, crying, and then that made it so real, and I could only imagine the pain that those poor people fell through. And I mean, I honestly, I am a person that I don't believe in the capital punishment, but I think I always said in the Delphi case and in this case, I hope that they get it. I hope they get it because he deserves it.
He does. He does deserve it, yeah. But I go back and forth on which is worse, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, make him pay. Yeah, but what? Then they get privileges and they get everything. No,
I don't want him to end up like a Chris Watts where he gets letters and presented money. But you know what? I figure that's for a jury to decide, and whatever they decide, if that's the state they live in. They should, I'll support whatever
of course.
jury decides.
But
that's Jeff says I'd rather be shot than stabbed, and I totally agree. If you're gonna do it, I don't want to sit there and suffer and take 17, knife wounds.
Yeah, because that's slow, and you would, you'll feel it. You will feel it. I mean,
when you cut yourself with a paper cut, that little sucker hurts. I've done it to myself too. So that's why all I'm imagining is that typically, if you feel that something sharp, your instant reaction usually is, of course, to scream.
I mean, I remember the coroner always said that when they're at that point, they don't feel the pain. It's more terror, because the terror of knowing that somebody's there. Right. I think terror overtakes, but imagine the fear that those girls must have felt. I mean, also Ethan must have felt.
No. Wow. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was looking at something else. It says Diamond says any chance he was at the bar that night.
No.
Don't think so. But I mean, the pings show him at certain times. I can't remember exactly what time all the pings were, but basically on the live during this Diamond, Jeff was kind enough to send over his Google Earth, and let me just take a quick look at his thing for a second. So, well, I don't think we really have anything for the 12th. No, we don't really have anything for the 12th. I don't think. No, it's the 13th. 13th. Yeah. I'm sure there is plenty of stuff for the 12th though. Starts basically at 12:58 a.m. when the Elantra. So if that's on the 13th, but that's on the 13th, not the 12th. Yeah, I'd be curious to know what he was doing on the 12th.
On the 12th, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he was doing something. Like he was probably like it wouldn't shock me if we have the 13th, but it'd be curious to see where his 12th was,
right,
where he was for sure. Anyways, you guys, it is really time to. Oh yeah, Adam, that's what I was asking you. Yeah, Deb was the one asking about the timestamps. Really, she was the one that was asking if Dylan had done videos. So
yeah. So there were. She did upload things. I don't know if it was videos or pictures. She did do uploads that night, but I think they were in the 3 a.m. hour. But I will double check and I'll message you, Deb.
Okay. Anyways, you guys, okay, tomorrow night we'll do a live. And Alexza, like I said, are you going to do the signature analysis?
I hope so. I mean, I will let you know because I have to talk to.
Yeah. Okay. Let me know. And because at the end of the day, this doesn't have to be, again, complicated. So don't do anything that would add to what you don't need to do, because it can simply be as simple as showing his signature and then reminding us about what the O's mean. And that, Bryan would be BR and the crazy hooks and stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be an intense write up and stuff like that. Just the kind of the gist of the typical things that usually you see in hooks, what is it called again? The claw hook, whatever.
The Fallon's hook.
Fallon's hook. Yeah. Alexa's ready for bed. She's tired.
And the lines, the O's, the O kill me. That when I saw his O, I was like, oh my God.
Here really quickly before we go on. So yeah, so they were uploaded to Visco. At 3 between there were two of them. They were at 3 between 3 and 4 a.m. So they were not during the times of the murder. They were before the murder.
Okay.
Yeah, she was probably.
That's on Dylan's Visco one.
On Dylan's Visco, she had uploaded 2 pictures on Visco. I think it was 3:13. I can't remember the other time. But they were between 3 and 4. They were both before 4 a.m.
Yeah, because according to her, she was sleeping.
Well, no, they said they were asleep by 4. They said that everyone was asleep by 4 a.m.
Well, Xana wasn't.
Except for Xana. That's what they said, with the exception of Xana, who was getting DoorDash.
I think the thing to take from this, and I always tell people, is one, please get curtains. Never let everybody see your business. Curtains. And don't ever, I mean, this is a little paranoid, I know, but for those of you that are a little paranoid, your lights, never turn your lights, all of them, keep the kitchen, and always change, like I leave my kitchen one day, I leave the other one, kind of to fool people. And nowadays it's so much easier because you can do it on your phone.
Right.
You can turn it on and off with your phone. But never, even the patterns at home. I know it's crazy that even in your own house, but that's the reality that we all live.
Mm-hmm.
One more thing.
Although the chances of obviously a home invasion and are very slow, very, very low, but hey.
Right. But it happens.
Right. Well, it happens. And not only that too, and don't go really be flaunting your address and where you live all over social media, exactly.
Right. Or that you're going on vacation.
And stuff like that.
Like my kids, they go out and they're like, we're going on vacation.
Yeah. I want to give one more thing about the pictures really quickly, is that there's also there's some confusion over the Visco pictures or VSCO pictures that were between 3 and 4 a.m. Because of the timestamp and it being Pacific time, it's uncertain whether those were taken from someone on those were screenshot from someone on the Eastern Standard Time. So they actually may have been as early as 12:30 that she posted them. So so there they were either at 12:30 a.m. or 3:30 a.m. their time. We're just not quite sure. But either way, they were before the murders.
And where did she upload it to?
It's a website called Visco, VSCO.
What is that? I never heard of it.
Yeah.
They were active on that. Like it's where Sunny showed it last night with several pictures, and then that's where they posted the pictures of the Dylan and Bethany got the matching tattoo.
Is it like an Instagram?
It's like an Instagram, but it's not one parents are on usually. So a lot.
Yeah, it's not one that I personally heard of really, and then I was just
too old for that.
Every case now has a new one. It's yellow.
Whatever.
It's Be Real, and then it's and now Visco.
Yeah.
Never heard of it either.
It was only literally because I typed in meet me. I put in Kaylee meet me, Bryan meet me, whatever. And I just was scrolling down, and I knew that of course the top articles are news. But it kept scrolling, and then I came across it. I'll send you the link, Alexza.
Yeah, I have a Visco account because I'm really cool.
Yeah, you're the cool one out of all of us.
I'm probably cooler because I don't have one actually.
Nah, I'm cool. I have one. I've never posted on it. That's why I'm cool.
Oh, yeah. I don't
cool
even have a Pinterest
because you know everything.
Yeah, I think I have a Pinterest, but I don't use it. I think one day I created one for whatever reason, but I don't.
Yeah,
use
I've never used Pinterest.
Yeah. Anyways, you guys, we're gonna say goodnight now. See you tomorrow night. Thank you so much. Again, if you haven't given a like and a share, please do. Again, really does help us out with the algorithm, and just and really it's just a nice way of appreciating us both, right? We deliver,
Alexza,
you deliver.
So much.
And the DoorDash driver, I'm sure, I'm sorry guys, but that is kind of crazy to think that poor DoorDash driver as well. Think of all those people that are going, what I could have, should have, didn't this,
Right. And he was probably angry about having to drive 18 minutes from Jack in the Box at 4 in the morning.
And I'm sure he was probably a suspect for a while because he was probably the last one. So they probably looked at him. They probably brought him in.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
And he probably, honestly, he probably just left the food at the door. He might not have even made contact with any of them.
I was gonna say he might just hit the doorbell and was like, "Bye."
Because if you wouldn't want to wake all your roommates up, so you wouldn't just be like, so you'd leave it at the door.
Just rapped on the door,
Because if I get DoorDash, I'll get a notification. They're like, your order's here, and I'll run down and get it.
I know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you guys, my butt's sore now. Okay, this has been 3 loves today. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, and blast and stay safe and all that good stuff.
Right.
Bye, guys.
Happy belated birthday, Alexza.